welcome to the Fear Podcast. I'm just heating up my coffee. Oh yeah. What up, guys? How you guys been? Decided to use my Michael Myers cup tonight. Ooh, that's good coffee. All right, let's start. Alrighty. Well, welcome, guys. Fears. Audience. Fears. What's up? What is up? Well, you know what's up? Nothing's up! No, I'm just joking. Actually, today's been a good day. Yesterday was a really good day. Work was good. It was busy, but it was good. All right, let's open up that chat. All right, see how everyone's doing. I should be able to get stream time back soon. I think I get it back on the 26th, 27th. I'll have to look. No, I'm just joking. All right. We got one person watching. What's up? What is up? Hopefully a lot more people will come in. It is 10:45 at night, so kind of a late stream. I almost didn't do it, but I was like, I even talked to Visions. I was like, Visions, what do you think? I said, do you think I should upload a vlog? Or do you think I should do a stream? And he went, I don't know, Fears. And then he went, streams are always good. And I was like, all right, fuck it, I'll do a stream. So yeah. So hopefully the one person watching, hopefully it's Lord Visions. So, Visions, let me know if it's you. Anyway, shout out to the Chizat. Hope you guys are doing well. I gotta say, I love this mug. I got this mug at Spirit Halloween. It's so good. Happy, sad, angry, calm. And then excited, sleepy, confused, jealous. There it is. It's a huge mug, though. I mean, it's not like a standard coffee mug. It's like a massive coffee mug. The Many Faces of Michael Myers. It's one of my favorite mugs, actually. And every time I drink coffee, I try not to have, like, just standard mugs. You know, I try to have, like, a funny kind of mug. Hell, one of my mugs I bought from, I didn't buy it. I won it at Dave & Buster's. It's that video game mug that's got a video game controller as the handle to the mug. So I was like, oh man, I'm like, Sega's gonna love this. Anyway, we got a couple of updates, and then I'll tell you guys the topic. So update 1, I did not go to church last weekend. I was not feeling up to it. I had a massive headache, and I just wasn't feeling it. And I was just like, you know what? So I'm going to church this weekend. I don't think there's a luncheon or anything. I think it's just a normal day at church. So, which that'll be good though. Really good. Second, I have been under so much stress, guys. Stress, everything. So I need the Lord more than ever. So hopefully God and Jesus will direct my path, man, because it's been tough, guys. It's been tough. So the update is his Fears is stressed out of his mind. With work, I'm trying to turn the job into a full-time job, you know? I was loud, by the way, when I popped my fingers. It was like 4 or 5 crunches in a row. So I put on a happy face, but there's been times where I am happy, and then there's other times right now that I'm kind of bumming, you know? So I hadn't talked to my mom for like a month. Finally, me and my mom are talking again. It was good to hear my mom's voice. So I guess we're back to normal, hopefully. It seems like everything's okay. Like she loved my gift. She loved my Valentine's Day gift. So I'm glad it worked. I'm really glad it worked. So yeah. Vision says time to bung it up. That's right. It's 10:48, motherfucker. Time to bung it up. Visions, I was just starting. Shout out to Lord Visions. Visions, I think it's just you and me, buddy, right now until other people come in. So I was telling everybody some updates, and then I'm going to get into the topics tonight. Feel free to bring up any topic you want, Visions. After I get done talking about the topics that I want to talk about, or we can talk about it in between. Just let me know. Anyway, so like I said, everything seems to be going okay with me and my mom. I hadn't talked to her in about a month. Finally, we started talking again. Thank God. Thank God. Thank you. Anyway, she loved my Valentine's Day present. So that's one less worry of the night. Because I want me and my mom to get along. I love my mom. She's super funny, just like Fierce. My mom makes me laugh. I make my mom laugh. She's smart. She's beautiful. She's amazing. I love my mom. She's got the cool British accent, you know. So I love my mommy. I love me some mommies, you know. So, Mom, I love you, and I'm sorry about fighting. So there's that. Number 2. Oh, by the way, Visions. Oh yeah, Michael Myers. Yeah, check out that mug, motherfucker. I love my Michael Myers mug. Anyway, and I got it at Spirit Halloween. I don't know if you heard, Visions, before you came in. I was telling everybody every year I try to buy some type of funny mug because I hate having like standard mugs, you know, in my cupboard. So I love movies, so I try to either get it movie related, funny, like a funny mug, or like a horror movie or something like that. All the stuff that I'm into, you know what I'm saying? So there's all that. Because, you know, when I'm editing, you know, I gotta be bunging it up. You know, I can't just have a neutral kind of semi-okay color. It's gotta be a cool, epic mug, man. Woo! So there was that. Then I was telling everybody about before you came in, Visions, Fears has been depressed. So I'm sorry that I have not been in the best of mood. Because when that depression kicks in, holy Jesus, it kicks in. I didn't mean to take your name in vain, but I'm going to church this weekend. I don't think there's a luncheon this week. I think it's just a normal standard church service. Because I missed last weekend. I had a splitting headache, guys. And when I mean a splitting headache, it was actually more than a headache. It was like a fucking migraine. It was like, hey, Fears, we're going to take a drill and drill it into your head like the fucking driller killer. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was killing me. So I was like, I'm not going to work. I said, I'm not going into church. Fuck that noise. So I even told Visions about it. And Visions like, yeah, Fears, sometimes it's just cool just to stay home and just relax. And I was like, oh, God, I am not getting off this couch. So I slept in my bed. Because I sleep either on the couch sometimes, because sometimes I'm so exhausted from work, I'll just get a shower, and then I just plump down, and then I always say, all right, I'm going to watch 2 episodes of Star Trek, and then I'll go to bed. And sometimes I do watch 2 Star Trek episodes, and then I make it to the bed. Or other times I'm like, fuck it, I got my Ghostbuster blanket, peace, deuce, I'm out, and then I just sleep here. Because this couch is so fucking comfy. It is so comfy, dude. So Visions, if you ever come to visit Fears, that's where you're sleeping, buddy. That's where you're sleeping. Because Fears ain't giving up my bed. I'm just joking. I'll be a good host. You can have the Fears bed, and I'll either sleep on the floor or I'll sleep on the couch. Anyway, both my bed is comfortable and my couch is comfortable. Oh my Lord, it is so good. Anyway, so yeah, I've just been depressed the last couple of weeks and months, and it's just not one thing. And I've talked to Visions about this. Yo, Pretend Stories, what's up? He says, hey, buddies. Buddy. What up, buddy? Buddy. I'm buzzing, buddy. You guys remember that? You guys know where that's from. That is from, well, if you don't know what it's from Adam Sandler's CD. I used to collect all of Adam Sandler's, like, music CDs. When CDs were still a thing. Guess what? They're still a thing in Fears' life. Fuck all that iPod shit. It's not that it isn't a good creation. Just Fears is old school. I don't want to sit there for an hour or two, download fucking songs, fuck all that shit. I haven't got the patience for all that crap. Just whenever I want to listen to music, I want to listen to it right now. So I'm like, all right, I'm in the car, and I don't listen to music in my house. The only time I listen to music sometimes in my house is when I'm editing, and I have my headphones on. By the way, check out these bad boys. I don't know if I've ever showed you guys my new headphones. Well, they're not new, but they're newer. What do you think, guys? These are my editing headphones. So sometimes I listen to music whenever I'm editing. So yeah. So anyway, but like literally the only time I listen to music is in my car. So it's just so much easier just to go online and go, all right, did they ever make a CD for this music? Bam. Okay, yeah, they did. Or no, they didn't. All right, I'll just fucking find. I'll download. So I do have some songs downloaded to this computer, but it's only if I can't find it on a CD. If I can find it on a CD, I'll get it, and then I put it in my car with all my other fucking CDs, and then boom. Pretend Story says they look nice. Yeah, they are nice. They do look nice. So yeah. Anyway, getting to back, I do like them. The wire's a bit long though, so sometimes the wire gets in the way. But I just kind of like throw it behind the computer. But yeah, they're pretty good. They're pretty good. These, I'll be honest, these are a lot better than my old. Nothing against the old ones that I had. The old ones I had for so long. I had them for like 9+ years, and they just crapped out. But they were really good headphones. I wish they wouldn't have crapped out. Like, whenever I listen to music, especially when I'm editing, here, I'll show you. I don't like it when shit is in my ears. It fucking irritates. It irritates my fucking ear. So I like it whenever I'm editing. I like for my ear to be, like, enclosed, in here. I just hate it. Lumber back in the day, I tried. Like Carrie gave me those old ones, like where the earbud things. It fucking drives me insane, like shit in my ear. So I like the bigger ones to enclose my ears. So then I can hear all the music, I can hear everything going on. There's nothing irritating my fucking, like, inside of my eardrum. It's just like the ear is fucking enclosed in. You know what I'm saying? I don't know, maybe because my skin's so sensitive, but it feels like someone's itching your ear inside. So yeah. Oh, I love that, Pixel. It irritates you? That's right. It annoys me and it irritates me when those little fucking earbuds. Some people like earbuds. I'm not a fan. I am not a fan. So I love it just when, because you can hear, and when even Sam told me, because Sam, he's the master of technology. Me, not so much. I mean, I know enough to get around the internet and edit and, buy shit offline, simple stuff. But when it comes to, like, game setup and all that, Sam said, Fierce, it's actually better if you have these like that. And I said, well, explain why, Sam. And Sam basically gave me a 10-second version of it, Pixel. He said, basically, when you're editing, you want to hear all the music inside your ear. He goes, and if you use those earbuds, he goes, I prefer these too. That's what Sam told me. So I'm with Pretend Stories. I can't do earbuds. And I said, Sam, do you like earbuds? And he's like, I'm kind of iffy. He goes, I prefer these. He goes, if I have to use earbuds, I will. And I was like, all right. So I was like, I just like to have these. So, but these are way better than the other one. The only reason why I like the other ones a little bit better than this, they crapped out. But like I'm telling you, these things that go around the ear were bigger. They were big. They were like that massive on me. So it just gave 10 times better sound quality. But these are good too. I got these at Walmart for like, I think these new ones. I think I've had these for 3 years now. 3 years. So yeah. They're pretty cool. Anyway, shout out to everybody in the chat. Hope you guys are having a nice night. But yeah, anyway, getting back to what I was saying. I'm sorry for the lack of content. I've been so, and I'll get to your guys' comments in a minute. I've been so depressed. And I even talked to my mom about this because now me and my mom, we're back to talking, thank God. I really missed my mom. I hadn't talked to her in a month and a half. But anyway, to make a long story short, she loved the gift. And she's like, well, what about the job? And I was like, well, the job's all right. I'm trying to make it into a full-time. And then my mom's like, you think you're going to do the flight thing again? I was like, yeah, I'm going to try again, either later on this year or next year. And she's like, oh, I hope you get it. And I was like, well, I said, if I get it, that's great. But I told her, I said, the only thing wrong with working at FedEx, I said, Mom, I love that job. I said, I've been losing a lot of weight. I said, I just wish it was full-time. I said, I just wish it was full-time. I said, that's what's depressed me. I said, I slaved my guts out, and I'm only getting, like, part-time work. And then I have to do another part-time job. I don't want to do jobs. I want to do one job. One. So my mom's like, I'm sure things will work out. And then we chat about some other stuff. And I said, look, I'm really sorry for not talking. Because I knew my mom was upset. So I was like, all right. I said, if I try and talk to her, it's just going to make matters worse. So I was like, all right, I'll give her some time to chill out. So she needed some time to chill out. I needed some time to chill out. But it's not just that. It's like other things that are like kind of depressing me. And I don't like to start a stream on a negative note, but I just need to tell you guys, I feel bad. I even apologized to my TikTok fans. I made a video and said, hey, look, I'm sorry for the lack of content. Listen, I said, I've been depressed. And I said, there's no way around it. And I said, it's a lot of things. Like, I'm depressed. It's so hard to lose weight. And because people deal with depression in many ways. And I told my mom, I said, Mom, I don't know how this started, but I said, I started eating my feelings, basically. And my mom's like, yeah, the last time you came to visit, she goes, I'm not trying to be mean, but she goes, I'm really worried about it. I said, I'm worried about me. I said, I've never been this heavy. Now, thank God I've lost a lot of weight since then. The heaviest I've ever been was when Sam first met me, when Sam was working security with me, when he first met me, I was 240. Holy God. And that's fat for me because I'm a short guy. I'm only 5'6". Now, I haven't checked my weight in about 2 weeks, but the last time I checked it was about 2-3 weeks ago, and I was down to 188, 189, something like that. So we're making progress, but I really would love to get down. I went to the doctors a couple of months ago for a checkup, and they said, Fears, a normal weight for your age, like late 30s, going into your 40s, is anywhere between 165 and 175. They said, try to aim for that. And I was like, oh, God. I said, I would be skinny mini if I was 165. So that's been kind of depressing, the weight loss, trying to all that, because I don't want to be fat, or chubby, And then I told my mom, I said, Mom, another thing that's been depressing, I said, no matter how hard I try, I said, I must have written at least 4,000 messages on different dating apps, and no one is interested in the Fears man. And she's like, well, she goes, finding a soulmate is hard. I said, yeah, you're telling me. I said, you're telling me. I don't know what it is. And I write them very nice messages. I'm not a creep, and I always give them a compliment. Like, Randall told me the best way to get someone to respond is, and I looked online, they said the best way to, like, whenever you're on online dating, is to compliment their page and find something that you have in common. So I'll write and go, oh, wow, hey, like, I saw that picture of you on the beach with your family. I love the beach. I said, I've loved the beach ever since I was 5 years old. Like, we should totally hang out on the beach someday. That would be a fun date, something like that. Or I'll be like, oh, hey, like, I noticed on the dating profile you put your favorite movie as Ghostbusters. So is mine. I've watched it over 1,000 times. Like, and then I just never get a response. And if I do get a response from someone, it's someone that I'm just not interested in at all. And Visions asked me and said, hey, would you ever date someone with kids? Yes, I would. I've actually already done that. Like, when I was in college, I dated some girl for like 2 or 3 weeks that had a kid. So I don't mind dating people that have kids. It just is, I haven't got a response in a while. So that is depressing. And then I told my mom, of course, Mom, I'm still depressed about Dad. And my mom's like, oh, yeah. She goes, that's been a struggle for me. I said, well, yeah, of course. I said, that's why I don't want to fight with you, Mom. I said, I don't want to fight with you in general, right? I said, I want to get along with my family. I said, 2, I said, I don't want to fight with you, especially now. I said, because Dad's only been gone for, 6-7 months now. And I said, like, it's hard. It's been hard, man. I miss my dad like fucking crazy, So it's all that shit. There's other things that are depressing me, but those are the main few. Like, not enough work, I want a full-time job. And I've been talking to my managers at FedEx. And they're like, Fears, they're like, we just haven't posted them yet. But they said, keep looking at the web. I said, I look at the website at least once a week. And I said, nothing's changed, So, yeah. And then So yeah, so it's work. It's a mixture of work, missing my dad, not having a lady for 4 years. Oh well, no, it's 2023, so it's almost 5 years now. You know, so it's a mixture of me missing my family. That's why I'm gonna go visit them here in a couple of months. I just don't know when. I don't know. I always go around my birthday, but my mom's like, "Why don't you try to switch it up? Like, come in the summer." So I was like, "Eh." But if we're still gonna hang out, Pixel, you gotta let me know, cause literally my boss came up to me a couple days ago and said, "Hey, John, like, didn't you say you wanted to take some time off?" I said, "Yeah, I just don't know when." I said, "I'll let you know." And they said, "Make sure it's a month in advance." They said, "You will not get it if it's 4 days in advance, a week in advance." I'll look at you and laugh, because that's just the way they do it. You have to put it in at least a month in advance, because they have to find for our, like, let's say I'm gone for a week and a half and I go home to Missouri. They need someone to cover my shift for a week and a half. You know. So let me know, Pixel. So that's why I told my boss, like, I think it was like 2 or 3 days ago, and it was the female boss. She came up, she goes, "You didn't put in your vacation yet." I said, "Well," I said, "I haven't decided when I'm going to go." She went, "Oh, okay." She's like, "Yeah, just let me know." And I was like, "Yeah." I said, "I'll totally let you know." So it's a mixture of all those things. So I apologize, guys, if Fears has not been in the best of moods. I try to be, in the best of mood, but yeah. Yeah. Oh, shit. Oh, my God. Visions, I love that dark humor. Vision goes, "Hey, you know what, Fierce? Here's an idea. My friend King Cobra said, it's okay to date a third cousin." What the fuck? You know what I gotta say? Look, King Cobra, I don't know much about you, but there's no fucking way I'm dating a third cousin. Buh! No, I'm good. I'm good. And I love my cousin very much, but there's no way. No, 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 no. But anyway, Visions, I appreciate you cheering me up, buddy. That was fucking hilarious. As soon as I saw that comment, I was like, oh my God. Anyway, let me get back to the comments. So, yeah, bear with me on the content. I've been wanting to upload the me and Sam miniature golf video. It's just a mixture of, I'm not even gonna lie, me being lazy and me being depressed. It's more because I'm depressed. So, but I need to get out of this funk. I've been trying to get out of the funk. I really have. All right. Pretend Story says, "Hey buddies." Vision says, "Welcome to good buddy chat." Hell yeah. Pretend Story says, "They look nice." They do look nice. I love those headphones. Pixel says, "I think." No, they're not the same headphones. Fuck that, Pixel. No, they're not. I would never buy anything that fucking idiot owns. Like, he buys all that weird anime fucking bullshit and, like, "Hey guys, how's it going? I talk like a fucking 10-year-old. Even though I'm like 25 years old." I fucking hate that guy. He's nuts. Pretend Story says, "They look good on your head." Do they? Nice. Visions asks a very important question. He says, "What songs do you listen to while editing?" Well, let me pull up my iTunes and I'll tell you, Visions. All right. So let me pull up. So let's see. I listen to a lot of, let's see here. Because in iTunes it tells you what you play the most. Like, whenever you click on a song, it'll be like, "You've listened to this song 9 times. You've listened to this song 138 times." So I'll tell you in 1 second. So I listened to a lot of Blink 182, because that's the first, like, big band that my buddy Eric introduced. If you guys don't know, I think Eric's my best buddy Eric in Missouri. He's been in a few vlogs, but he's really camera shy, which is hilarious, because back in the day, he used to love filming, like, all of our Jackass videos, but for a vlog, he gets kind of nervous. I don't know why. But I respect my friend's opinion. If you don't want to be in a vlog, you don't want to be in a vlog. But, like, some of the first few concerts we went to, Visions, was, like, Blink 182 and, like, Warped Tour and all that shit. So I listened to a lot of Blink 182. I listened to a lot of CKY. Because I love CKY. It's probably my favorite band of all time. Even though they don't make many songs, the songs they have made, I love CKY. I listen to a lot of him, and then sometimes I listen to a lot of, like, soundtracks, like movie soundtracks. I listen to the Mortal Kombat soundtrack, because I love Mortal Kombat, so I'll listen to that a lot. Let's see, let me scroll down. I listen to a lot of... let's see what else. I listen to the Ghostbuster soundtrack quite a lot. It says that I've played that 500 times. I mean, but I mean, that's not too surprising because I love Ghostbusters. Let's see what else. Let me scroll down. There's this band called The Fifth Element that my friend showed me. Like, it's either The Fifth Element or Fifth Element. I can't remember. But my friend introduced me to that, and they kind of do like, they're like a parody band. Visions. They do. It's like they sing songs of today, but like in an '80s version. You know. And I've seen some of their music videos. So, but they got some pretty kick-ass songs. Like one's called "I Like Pizza." You know. Another one's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Suck. And the reason why it's named that is because the guy, like me, loves the cartoon of Ghostbusters, the real Ghostbusters, so much more. So I don't know why they're called The Fifth Element, though. But my friend introduced me to this band like 2 or 3 years ago. So I listened to a lot of that. And it's a bunch of parody shit. Let's see. Let's see what else. The Carpenters, I listen to a lot. I'm really into the Carpenters. My dad introduced me to that band, like, so I'll listen to some Carpenters, and then, of course, I love me some Beach Boys, so that's the very first, like, band that's not rock and roll, that's not punk rock, because I remember the very first concert I ever went to, my mom and dad took me, my brother, my British grandma, my American grandma, my mom, my dad, and I think some of our cousins was with us on my dad's side. We all went to the 15-year anniversary reunion of Beach Boys. And I've told you guys that story many times. I just remember visions of it. I remember visions and parts of it. So, yeah. Let's see what else. Let me scroll down. I listened to a lot of... I'll be honest. Sometimes I listen to Randall's theme song, the Thrilling 3 theme song. Because I love that dun 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 dun. You know, that little tune he made. And Randall actually made that tune. So that's just, I mean, I listen to other stuff, but those are like the 10 kind of songs I listen to. So there's that. Pretend Story says, yeah, those headphones look comfy. They do look comfy. They are comfy. It just, like I said, Pretend, the fucking earbud shit, it's just, it's not my thing. They just irritate my ears so much, dude. So, I don't know. Pixel, do fucking earbuds, do they bother your ears? I don't know. Just, I like having something like enclose my ear. Because literally the sound's better. The sound quality's better than the fucking thing in your ear. I can't stand it. Anyway, let me scroll down. Let me catch up with the comments. Pretend Story says, I can't do earbuds. Pretend Stories. Tell Jen, thank you. Pretend Story says, Jen says, pick your chin up. I'm trying to get out of this funk. Yo, Heroes and Villains Collectibles, what's up? Let's see. We need to get your profile on point. I mean, I have a pretty good profile picture, you know. Anyway. Yeah. Vision says, just not like that. I get you. Exactly, Visions. Fuck that. No. I don't know who the fuck King Cobra's dating, but that's not my thing. No. No, I'm good. I'm sure things will turn around, but man, I've just been bumming. I've been bumming. And the girls that have showed interest, like that one school teacher, oh my God, man. I've told you guys about her. I'm trying to remember her name. I think it was Rachel. I think her name was Rachel. She was perfect. Like, she wasn't a hot, flowing model, but she wasn't ugly, you know? She was cute. And she was really beautiful. And I was like, oh, that's cool. She's a school teacher. That means that she cares about, you know, kids, because I want to be a dad someday. And not only does she care about kids, but she cares about other people. And she wants, you know, because everyone has to go to school because they teach you the things to succeed in life, you know? And if you don't go to school, you're a fucking Dumbo, you know what I'm saying? So I was like, oh, man, this is so cool. And she liked music. She loved Ghostbusters. I was like, this is fucking perfect. And then she had to fucking run off. Oh, John, I didn't mean to, like, you know, waste your time, but I think I'm going to try to get back with my ex. Why? Ugh. Anyway. But see, I couldn't be mad at her because I was like, well, I tried for 1.5 years to get back with my ex. So I'm like, if I say don't do that, you know, I'll be a fucking hypocrite, and I don't want to be a hypocrite. So I was like, oh, fuck, you know. Oh, yeah, Kim. I'm sorry, Kim. Thank you, Joy, but it wasn't Rachel. Kim, yeah. Kim was amazing. And it was short for Kimberly, you know? So I was like, man, I really wanted to go out with Kim. I really did. And she was really nice. She had, in one of her profile pictures, she had this like nice long red dress on. I guess she was like at a wedding or something. Not her wedding, but a friend's wedding. And I guess her parents were in the picture. And I was like, oh, her parents seem really nice. And, you know, I'm like, this is a nice family photo. So I was like, all right. And she told me she's a Christian. I'm like, this can't get more perfect. It can't. And we chatted for like 3 weeks. And I was like, all right. I'm like, here's the time to pop. Then I popped the question like 4 or 5 days later. Well, she didn't seem nice, Joy Boy. She was nice. I chatted with her for at least 2.5, 3 weeks. She was perfect. And she felt so bad. And I was like, it's cool. I understand. I'm like, listen, I'm like, if you ever change your mind. She goes, oh, yeah. She goes, I'll hop back right on the dating site and I'll message you. I'm like, please message me. Because I was already planning like the first date. I was like, all right. And she said, oh, I would love to like walk on the beach. Because I said, what's like your, because I try to be as romantic as possible. Because with my ex, never had any complaints about the romance, you know. She never said anything bad about that, you know. So I said, if you had to have like a perfect first date, Kim, I said, what would you want to do? She's like, well, can we plan it together? I was like, sure. I said, just give me some ideas. I said, you plan a little bit of it, I'll plan a little bit of it. And she goes, oh, I would really love, she goes, I went to the beach, but I've never went on a beach date. I'd love to like walk on the beach, you know, with a guy. And I was like, I said, we can do that. So we can do that. And I said, anything else? And she's like, she goes, that's all. She goes, that's all I got. She goes, you plan the rest. And I was like, I can do that. I planned the best first date ever. And it just never happened. No, it never happened, Joy Boy. I never met her. Anyway, I'm sure things will turn around. I hope, or fingers crossed, hopefully they turn around. Anyway, so I just wanted to tell you guys all that because I've been kind of bumming, you know, the last couple of weeks and months. So I apologize for the lack of content, vlogs, and I've been wanting to do some unboxings, and I'm so far behind because I just have not felt the need to edit. I haven't wanted to edit because I've just been depressed. So bear with me. The streams will continue. More content will continue. But Visions, Joy Boy, Pretend Stories, Pixel, Heroes, I appreciate you guys all being, you know, good guys and good friends. And appreciate you guys always giving fierce support through good times and bad. I really do. I can't thank you guys enough. I appreciate it. I really do. You guys are awesome. Anyway, tonight's topics, we're going to be reviewing quite the classic. Oh my God, I can't believe this movie is in my Blu-ray collection, but I think the better question is why wouldn't it be in my Blu-ray collection? Nunk! Howard the Duck. One of the most shittiest Marvel movies ever, but one of the greatest Marvel movies ever. Oh my God! Classic. Visions, have you ever seen this hunk of shit? It's great. And then the second thing we're going to be reviewing, it was big. This was big in the Fierce Man household growing up because my mom's British. And I love me some Mr. Bean. Oh, if you guys have never seen Mr. Bean, this is the television series. It only had 3 seasons. Like, people always think, like, oh, man, I thought Mr. Bean, like, was on the air longer. Nope. It lasted maybe a year or 2. And the reason why is Roman Atkinson, the guy that plays Mr. Bean, he said, I didn't want it to be like Big Bang Theory, like 10 seasons. He goes, I wanted to give them a little bit, and then I wanted to take the character into movies and do live shows. And he goes, because if you saturate the media with Mr. Bean, then people won't love him as much. He goes, if you give them a little taste, then they want a little more, and then a little more. And so far, he's made 3 seasons and 2 movies, Mr. Bean, and then Mr. Bean the movie, and then Mr. Bean's Holiday, where he goes on vacation or some shit, because in England, they don't call vacation, they call it a holiday. And then he's done a bunch of, like, live tours as Mr. Bean. And he's got his YouTube channel now, Mr. Bean. So he's getting quite old to play Mr. Bean, but thank God whenever he makes those appearances, because he's funny as hell. Vision says, yeah, I saw Howard the Duck a long time ago. It's quite... And Visions, what did you think? Did you like it? Did you like it? I mean, look, he travels to Earth in a fucking egg. Just like how, what's that 70s TV show? That guy traveled in an egg. Oh, God, I used to watch it with my grandma. Fucking, it's like a massive egg, and he hatches out of it, and he comes from another planet, and then he meets that sexy girl that, like, works at a music store. Oh, God. It had Robin Williams in it. What the hell? It's something in Mindy. Oh, Mork and Mindy. Mork and Mindy. Mork and Mindy. So that guy traveled to Earth in a fucking egg. That guy traveled to Earth in a fucking egg. Howard travels, in a fucking egg. It's fucking hilarious. And you know what, Visions? You would think that I would have Mork and Mindy in the fucking collection. The key word is yet. I haven't got it in the collection yet, but it will. But I rented Mork and Mindy from my Florida library, and I've watched every single episode. Man, Robin Williams must have been on some serious drugs when he did that show, because he was going ballistic. And I watched all the bonus features, and some of the cast members that are still alive said, oh yeah, like, Robin would come to work, and we knew he'd be high on something, So there it is. Thank God Robin Williams got sober, though, It's a shame that he passed away. It's a shame that he took his life. You know what I'm saying? Like, even though Fears is depressed, I wouldn't be that depressed. I would never take my own life. Because my dad always told me that is a permanent solution to a temporary problem. Yo, Richie, what up, buddy? What's up? Vision says, you do like those old shows. You know why I like the older shows better, Visions? When you watch all this new TV, right? When you watch all this new TV, like, they don't make good family quality TV shows. Like, you guys know I'm right. Like, I just reviewed Highway to Heaven, about the angel that comes to Earth and, like, helps people. They wouldn't make a show like that anymore, because people want violence and gore and swearing and blow me up and all that shit. But from 1950 to the 90s, they made good quality shows for families, and they made funny stuff like Mork and Mindy. But still, Mork and Mindy, even though it's a funny parody, there is episodes where they talk about violence and guns and drugs, which is weird because Robin Williams was on drugs when he did the show. But they did a show where, like, Mork is tempted to do drugs, and Mindy's like, what are you doing? Don't do drugs, So that's why I like those old TV shows. My hair is going nuts. I need to get a haircut, or at least a trim. It's starting to look like fucking Herman Munster fucking hair. Anyway, yeah, I like those old ones. And especially the old cheesy ones. Like, who doesn't fucking love Knight Rider? It's like set in the future, futuristic car and shit. And Visions, I saw an old interview with David Hasselhoff, and David said, "Oh man, this is gonna be a network TV show. I've made it big. I'm gonna call my dad." And he said he called his dad and said, "Hey Dad, I've got 2 gigs coming up." And his dad was like, "All right, yeah, that's cool. Like, tell me the gigs." He goes, "Well," he goes, "I could do this play." He goes, "This off-Broadway play for 2 years." And his dad's like, "Oh, that sounds good. Like, how much are they going to pay you for the play?" And then he's like, "Oh, they're going to pay, I don't know how much, but he said they're going to pay me this." And his dad was like, "Oh, wow, that sounds awesome." He goes, "I've got this other gig, Dad, that'll pay me even more." And he goes, "I'm the main character, and they're going to pay me a lot more than the play." And he's like, "Well, how much more?" He's like, not too much more, but a little more. And then he was afraid to tell his dad the concept, because back in the day, it was kind of a weird concept, a talking car that fights crime. And then his dad's like, "All right, well, what's the synopsis of the show?" He goes, "Well, it's about a guy that's a secret agent, and his sidekick is a talking car." And his dad was like, "You have to be fucking kidding me." He goes, "Are you serious?" He goes, "You're joking, right?" And he goes, "No, I'm not joking." He goes, "It's called Knight Rider." And he goes, "Even the name of the show sounds retarded." And he's like, "Dad," he goes, "what do you think I should do?" He goes, "Take the play. Do the play." He goes, the Broadway play will get big, as you never know. May get picked up for a couple of more. He goes, "Do the play." And he's like, well, he goes, even though the concept, Dad, is kind of cheesy. He goes, I kind of like it. And his dad's like, well, do whatever you feel is right. He goes, but if I were you, he goes, I wouldn't be on a TV show with a talking car. And what's funny is at the end of the interview, David Hasselhoff said at the end of the 4th season of Knight Rider, because there was only 4 seasons, he said his dad called him and said, you know what? He goes, thank God you did the TV show. And then David was like, well, what do you mean? He goes, I thought you were against it. And he said, well, he goes, at first I was. He goes, but seeing your acting in it, he goes, you took that crappy TV show and made it way better. He goes, and I got to admit, he goes, the car that they picked is pretty fucking slick, pretty fucking cool. And he's like, oh, okay, cool, Dad. He goes, plus, he goes, I'm very proud of my son. He goes, you were on a network television show once a week, He goes, you're getting paid shitloads of money, so there it is. But yeah, that's the reason why I like all those classic shows, Visions. I don't know, they just seem they put a lot more effort into it. Like, I'm telling you, the last TV show that I sat down and watched from start to finish that's like of today, I finally finished like a year or two ago. I finally finished all the Big Bang. I love the Big Bang. The Big Bang, that's good. Some are still good. Like, I would consider that's a family type of show. But the last show that I watched that's not a family show, that's like kind of action adventure, I love Gotham. They had all the seasons of Gotham at my library. I haven't bought it yet, but I was like, oh, cool, they got all the seasons of Gotham. Because they do have television shows in the movie section of my library. And I was like, oh, what the hell? I'm like, they got all the seasons here. I'll just grab them all. And I started watching them, and I was like, all right, this is pretty good. Like, the starts of, them building Wayne Manor. Oh, okay. You kind of see how he was molded into Batman. Okay, the first aspects of Joker and the fucking Penguin, or what's the other one, the Riddler or whatever. So it was pretty good. That's the guy you did that's the guy you did the music video at. Yeah. And not only is David Hasselhoff, he's an actor. In like Germany, he's real famous for his music. Like, they fucking love his music over there. I don't know if they like his music so much in the States, but in Europe, they love David Hasselhoff's music. So, yeah. Let's see. Vision said, I watched the nearly 2-hour pilot of Highway to Heaven the other day. Oh, did you really, Visions? That's cool. Now, what did you think of it? Did you like it? Did you like the pilot? I will admit, the pilot, it's very long, but it's very good. It sets the tone of the show. Like you see him come to Earth, and he takes care. Like, he goes to this nursing home, and the people that run the nursing home, they don't do any activities for, like, the elderly, and they're just sitting there, like, kind of rotting away. And then he, like, goes up to the manager and goes up to the lady, and he's like, who puts on the activity? And she goes, there is no activities. He goes, we're supposed to provide them lodging, food, They watch TV sometimes, and he's like, oh, I got to put a stop to this. And then he turns around the whole place, and but again, it's a good family show. But I'm curious to think, what did you think of it, Visions? Did you like it? Anyway, Richard says, Mr. Bean is a classic. Oh, it is. Mr. Bean is quite the classic. I've been watching Mr. Bean since I was 4, 5, 6 years old. So I'm glad that you like it, Richie. Oh, yeah. Yep. Yeah, and he's funny. Mr. Bean's funny. Now, not every single episode is good, but there's a lot of good episodes, and I'll tell you guys in a minute. Joy Boy says, did you have roommates in college? I did. I thought I told you guys about this. I initially had roommates, and then my roommates became like a nightmare. And then I said, fuck this. And I think in my junior year, I asked a friend, a film friend, not Randall. I wish it would have been Randall, but I asked my friend Aaron in one of my film classes. I said, Aaron, do you want to get a place together, man? Because he was looking, he didn't like his roommates. He goes, Fierce, my roommates are more of a nightmare than yours. He goes, and I've been over to your house. He goes, and I know how bad your roommates are. And I said, yeah. So I said, you want to get a place together until college is over? And he went, yes. And he goes, where were you thinking? I said, anywhere. I said, anywhere. I said, Aaron, you're a good buddy. I said, we've teamed up on film projects. So I said, I know you're not a maniac. I said, these fucking guys, I said, I can't stand. I said, they don't do any of the chores. They're fucking lazy as hell. I said, they live in filth. I can't live in filth. And I said, you know this. And But the funny thing is Aaron turned out to be a slob. I said, Aaron, I don't care what your room looks like. You can live in filth in your room. But I said, you will keep the bathroom clean and you will keep the front room clean. I said, and you will keep the kitchen clean. And he went, yeah, fair enough, Fears. But he never cleaned his room the whole 3 years that we were roommates. I would walk into his room and there'd be shit everywhere, like fucking hoarders. And I was like, that's fine. I'm like, that's his area. That's his room. My room was fucking spotless. You could throw a pin on the floor and you could see it. Like, it was great. So I was like, all right, but yeah. I thought, but you know what, Joy Boy, you may not have known that because you're kind of a newer fan. Like, you've only been watching for, like, what, a year now, right? Or a couple of months, something like that. Vision says, Michael Landon kind of creeped me out the way he would stare at everyone and smile. But yeah, it's definitely a family-friendly type show. Well, you know the reason why he smiled a lot is because he was playing an angel. I don't think his intent was to creep anyone out, Visions. He's playing an angel. Plus, he was a very religious person. He actually wrote a lot of the episodes and he directed a lot of the episodes. But I think his religion, I think he was either, no, he was Jewish. He was Jewish. So, which is fine. And they actually do an episode on people, like, hating Jews and stuff. So, it's definitely, I don't think his intent was creeping people out, but yeah. But yeah, it's definitely a family-friendly type show. I love the show because each week he kind of helps people out, which I think, again, they don't make a lot of shows like that anymore. You know? Like, in The Big Bang Theory, sometimes they help people out, but they really focus on all the nerdy shit. But, you know, I love those old ones. And I love all the cheesy ones. Like, Knight Rider was cheesy, but it was kind of a look into the future, and you gotta admit the car is fucking cool. And then somebody showed me these two other ones. I haven't watched it all the way through yet, but the episodes I have watched, oh my god, Visions, I was fucking rolling. Here, I'll show it to you in a minute. Here, let me grab them. Let's see if you've seen these. Because if you like Knight Rider, holy shit, this shit is gonna lose. You're gonna lose your mind. Hang on. Let's see if I can find it. There's this one, and then where the hell is the other one? Where is it? Oh, there it is. All right. So, all right. Have you seen these, Visions? Oh my god. So I haven't watched all of them. I need to sit down and watch the whole series, but so I remember, I don't know who told me about these. I think it was somebody in the community. And Fears was like, "Oh, Fears, like I know you love Knight Rider." And I was like, "Yeah." And he goes, "Oh, well, Fears, if you like Knight Rider, you'll love this. Fucking Automan, the complete series. Fucking Automan. Check out how cool that car is. And then fucking motherfucking Street Hawk." So yeah. So this one's about a futuristic motorcycle that can like go 300 miles an hour or 300 plus, and it's basically the same shit as Knight Rider. Like, you know how like Michael Knight, he gets hurt and then they do reconstructive surgery, build him back, you know, and then they offer him a job. Same thing. This guy's a motorcycle police officer, and he gets into a massive like motorcycle accident, and then this guy, he's in charge of a government project. He's made like this motorcycle of the future that can fight crime. It doesn't talk. That's the difference. It doesn't talk, but it kind of does the same shit as Knight Rider. It scans. It shoots missiles. It's like the ultimate fucking motorcycle. And because he got hurt, he's like, well, listen, man, I feel bad that you got hurt, you know, testing this project. That's the reason why they picked him, because he tested the prototype or some shit. And he goes, I feel bad that you got hurt. So he's like, how about, you know, we fix your legs, and then once you're fixed, then he goes, I'm going to offer you the job of being the first prototype, rider for Street Hawk. And that's why he calls it that. And then this one is about, you can barely see him, but this guy, he's like a nerdy cop. And they will not allow him to work in the field. He's just so nerdy, and they're like, you don't have the skills to like work in the field, and da 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 da, you know. And then so he works in the computer division at the fucking police station, and so he says, well, if I can't go out and fight crime, I'll just make somebody that can like go fight crime. So he uses his computer skills, and he makes a holographic projection version of a cop, which is this guy, and he calls him Auto Man because he's the first automatic man, basically. And so then him and Auto Man team up and like fight missions and shit, and then he always just takes the credit, you know. So Auto Man's like said, well, since I'm not a real person, you take the credit. And every time they take down a villain, then like his police sergeant's like, hey man, like you're getting really good at like working in the computer division. Like maybe I'll give you some actual, like maybe I was wrong. Maybe you can work in the field. And what the police sergeant, like his boss doesn't know is he's like, well, I'm actually not doing it. Like, my fucking friend Auto Man is doing it and shit, you know? But he's like, all right, yeah, give me the fucking assignments. I'll fucking do it, you know? So, these are pretty cheesy visions, I must say, but they're great cheese. They're great cheese, as Fears would say. But yeah, I know that was a long answer to your question, but I love all those, because I've always wanted to be a family man. You guys know this. My mom and dad, you know, I had a great upbringing, you know, blessed upbringing. Yeah, we had our little fights here and there, but my dad was a great dad, still is a great dad. My mom is a great mom. So we always sat down and watched those good family shows. I mean, I watched tons of shit growing up. Leave It to Beaver. That's an old fucking show. Bewitched, you know, the Dick Van Dyke Show. I watched all that shit. Do I have them all in the collection? No. I need to, though. Andy Griffith, that's like the ultimate classic, like, Americana family show. You're not an American, you know, if you haven't watched the Andy Griffith Show. That's classic shit. Lassie. Lassie's a classic show. Lassie? What, boy? What? Tommy's stuck on the abandoned mine shaft? Oh, shit. We better go and help him out. You know? Like it was always some fucking guy, like, oh, he's stuck in the river? Oh, shit. You better save him, Lassie. I'm like, dude, he's a dog. Why don't you get the police? And the police will get the guy out of the fucking river, you know? But Lassie's a good American. I like all those shows like that. Like that not only is good television, but it delivers a good message. You know, and it's got some action in it, you know. And it's got some, you know, funny humor. Like, literally, there's a scene where a guy, and I'm watching this, I'm like, you're talking to a dog. Obviously, dogs don't communicate with humans. And he's sitting there, what? What, boy? And then Lassie's just rough, you know? And I'm like, dude, it's a dog. He's barking at you. He's not going to be like, hey, Timmy is in the abandoned mine shaft, you know, or whatever. So, it was hilarious. It's a good show. Let's see. Joy Boy says, sounds like some good people. AL. I don't know what you're on about. Pretend Story says, Jen says Bond Tactical Soap. Is that a TV show? Oh, I don't know. I don't know what the hell. I don't know what you're on about. Anyway, so yeah. So, Vision, I'm sorry that question had a long answer, but yeah, I do love all those classic shows. So. Anyway, it's almost the weekend, guys. I hope you guys have had a good week. Visions, I know you've been working hard. I know the other day you said you had to drive somewhere to get a big order. So I hope that massive order went really well, buddy. I think Visions told me you had to drive to, what was it, Oregon? Portland, Oregon, and you had to pick up some shit. I hope you, Mrs. Visions, I hope the rabbits are doing good. I hope all of you guys. Pixel, hope you're doing good. Richie, Pretend Stories, Joy Boy, everybody. Hope everyone's doing well. Work went good last night. The only thing that was driving me nuts last night, there's this one manager that drives me nuts. I guess because he's got like a military background. Like, it seems like nothing is good enough. Come on, Fears! Pick it up! And I'm like, dude, I'm slaving my guts out. I'm going as fast as I can. But nothing's ever good enough for him. And he was trying my patience. I was 2 seconds away from saying, all right, I'm going to get a fucking main manager and tell him to leave me the fuck alone. We have thousands of packages, right? And it's not just a one-person job. But since, I guess, some people called in, I was the only one on the line grabbing packages and putting them in front of the trucks. It should be a two-man job. One guy working at the front of the belt and then me at the back. And normally I have two people, including myself, or three people on the line. And I said, dude. And so he's like, Fears, why is all those packages at the front and it's blocking the belt? And I looked at him like he was nuts. And I said, it's just me down here. And he goes, yeah, I know. He goes, but why? And I said, that's the reason. I said, I need some help. I said, I'm getting backed up on all these fucking packages. Now, of course, I didn't curse. But I said, if you could get me another person, I said, those packages wouldn't be blocking the front of the belt. And he goes, I tried to help you. He goes, I can't be here all the time. I said, right. I said, I know, you're a manager. I said, you could go grab somebody, and help me. I said, this ain't a one-person job. He goes, I understand that. He goes, we're kind of short tonight. I said, well, that's the reason why those packages are there. I said, I'm slaving my guts out. I said, I'm working as fast as I can, And I said it in a nice way. He goes, yeah. He goes, I understand that. He goes, we need to pick it up. And I was like, I don't know what you want from me, man. I said, I'm working as fast as I possibly can. So I knew his military background because he's around my age, and he always brings into work this tactical backpack that he has all of his stuff in. So I know he's in the he was in the armed forces. I don't know if he's in the armed. And I have nothing against him being in the army. I give it up to the vets. My dad was in the army. I give it up to the vets all the time. But I don't know. It does something to their brain. Because, when you're in the army, you have to be perfect. You have to be on point. That's how they train the soldiers. They have to be on point 100%. And if they're not 100% every waking moment, because that's how they make soldiers. I get it. So once they get out of the military, my dad even told me. My dad said, the reason why I was hard on you and your brother sometimes is because it's my military background. I was like, I get it, Dad. I get it, So it just gets annoying. And so I'm not going to say my manager's name. So I had to go up to another manager and I said, listen, this guy, he's going a little nuts. And they're like, what do you mean? I said, he's on me all the time. I said, especially tonight. I said, I'm only one guy. I can't do everything. And I said it as nicely as I possibly could. I said, can you get me some help on the belt? And they said, yeah, sure. And I said, I don't want to bother my manager, but I said, I've asked him twice. And he said, well, Fears, he goes, did he tell you that we're a little short-handed tonight? And I said, yeah. I said, I know we're short-handed tonight. And he goes, yeah, he goes, for some reason, a lot of people called in sick tonight. I said, I get that. I said, but there's got to be someone to help me out. So finally, I said, look, this guy keeps going nuts. I said, I understand there's packages at the front of the line. I said, and that blocks the person. So there's a person standing at the front of the line. They scan the package. They throw it down the chute. Then it comes to us on the line. We take it. We look at the number. Oh, okay, 427. Okay. And then I look for the truck 427, put the box in front of 427. So when the drivers get there, like Sam, then Sam goes, all right, cool. I've got all my packages. Bam, bam, bam. Put them in the truck. So if that front, though, gets blocked, then the person that scans them can't put the boxes down the chute. So I looked at the other manager and said, right, I understand that they're blocked because, look, I said, who else is on the belt? Nobody. And I said it as nicely as I possibly could. But my patience was really I had to stretch my patience. Thank God I didn't go fully hardcore Fears rage mode. But I was like, you really need to tell this manager to leave me alone. I said tonight's not the night. I said, and I even told my manager, I said, I've been kind of depressed lately. And I said, I'm that close to going nuts on that guy. I said, he should know that I am only one person. And he went, all right, Fears. He goes, I understand. He gets kind of what was the word that she said? He gets kind of really into his job. I said, it's fine. I said, that's great if he's really into his job. I said, he shouldn't take it out on us workers down here. I said, the reason why it's blocked is because I'm only one guy. I said, this ain't a one-guy job. I said, it should be a two-guy job. One guy working in the front, always keeping the chute opening clear of packages, and then he throws them to me, and then I'll put them away. And she goes, Fears, I couldn't agree more. She goes, but again, we're short-staffed. She goes, I will talk to him. And she goes, and I will tell him to chill out a little bit. I said, I appreciate it. And she goes, and I will try to get you some help. They got me some help, but not much. 3 guys came and they helped uncluttered it. And I was like, they need to stay. But of course, what did they do? They just uncluttered it, and it took us about an hour to unclutter it. And then they went away. And then I had to do the rest myself. So I just went, all right. I said, don't blame me. And she goes, oh, I won't blame you, Fierce. And I said, don't blame me if it gets cluttered again, which it did. And then they had to come back a second time. But I said, do not blame me. I said, he's the manager. I said, he should have got someone from another line to come help me and have them stay the rest of the night. So I said, if he gets mad that it gets cluttered again, that ain't my fault. And she goes, oh, no, I get it. But yeah, he was being a little nuts for 10 stories. He was like, what the heck is this? He goes, and I was just like, what do you mean? I did not snap pretend stories, but I was that close. Because he kept going nuts. Fierce, what the heck? You should be on point, man. He goes, this thing should never be blocked. And I was like, and I said, look, dude. I said, am I always on point? Almost always am I on point. And he goes, yeah. I said, do I take my job seriously? And he said, yeah. And I said, do I like my job? I said, do I put in a full day's work? And he goes, yeah. I said, well then, look. I said, I'm only one person. And I said, I said his name. I said, look, his name. I said, this belt is long. There's millions of packages. I said, we get thousands and thousands of packages a night, right? And he goes, right. I said, so look, I said, it shouldn't be a one-person job. I said, if another person was here helping me, one guy uncluttering it at the front, it would always be open, and then the person scanning all the things could just throw it down the chute, and we'd never be, backed up. And he goes, I get that, Fears. He goes, we just really got to pick it up, man. He goes, we have a lot of packages. And I said, I in pretend stories, this is exactly what I said to him. I said, I don't know what else you want from me, man. I said, I'm working as fast and as hard as I possibly can. I said, I really need some help here. And he goes, I helped you a little bit. He goes, but I can't always be here, Fears. I said, I'm not asking you to always be here. I said, can you get somebody else? And so I just love it when they bitch and moan and complain. But it's their own fault. Like, if I was a manager, I'd be, okay, yeah, Fears is only one person. I probably should get him some more help down there. That's why I can't, it baffles me whenever they bitch and moan. But I just kept quiet. Like, I said what I needed to say because I'm like, I don't want to get in trouble. So I just said, look, man, I said, this is how I feel. I said, this shouldn't be never should be a one-person job. I said it should be a two-person job. Always cleaning out the top of the chute and then someone in the back. Because even the person cleaning the chute out at the front, whenever it's clear, then they grab packages and put it away. So we're always walking from the line to the car, to the trucks and back, So he understood that he was kind of wrong, or he was wrong. And I'm like, I'm one person. And so and I saw a manager go up and talk to him. So after that, he didn't say one word until the job was done. And he went, all right, we're good, Fears. You can go home. Just like that, like no eye contact. He was like, all right, Fears. You can go home. Thanks for your help. And I was like, okay, have a nice day, man. So hopefully when I go in, because I don't, I'm off tonight. So hopefully when I go in tomorrow, hopefully there's no static. Hopefully there's no crap. Because I have nothing against the dude. Just sometimes he expects unattainable goals, I'm like, dude, we'll get the job done. It's not for a lack of trying. You know what I'm saying? Like, I work. Like whenever I'm like, I know I'm a goofy guy with you guys, but when I go to work, I'm all business, Like, I take my job very seriously because I want a promotion. I want to be a manager. I want to make more money, So, like, I don't fart around. Like, the hat comes off, and, I pull up my sleeves and I get a mosey and I get working. So, he knows that I'm a hard worker. And normally me and this guy don't have a problem. But whenever he gets into like Army drill sergeant mode, I'm just like, come on, dude. I'm like, the reason why the chute is blocked up. Because it's not a one-person job. So, yeah. I'm pretty proud of myself that I didn't go nuts. But I'm telling you, if he would have went nuts on me for another 15 minutes, I probably would have snapped and been like, look. You need to chill the hell out. I didn't know because I don't want to get fired, but I was that close. Because, like you said, pretend stories, they should have more help. They should. Like, if somebody calls in sick, then they need to, like, grab people from other lines. That's all I'm trying to say. Because you guys know, I love my job. And all of my managers are nice. Even that guy's nice. Just not when he's in his drill sergeant mode. But I understand he's got a job to do too. He's the manager, so I'm sure there's a lot of pressure on him. So I get it. But I'm just like, come on, man. I'm like, listen. I'm like, it's no one's fault. It's not your fault. It's not my fault. Nobody has any control on people that, like, call in sick. So I just don't think he liked that I went and told the manager, look, he's got to chill out a little bit. But I was like, I don't care. I'm like, I'm not going to have this guy scream at me for no reason, And he wasn't really screaming. He was shouting. Like, Veers, what the heck? And I was like, oh, no. I'm like, you're not blaming this all on me. I didn't say that, but in my mind, I'm like, look, I said, you are not blaming this on me. I said, because it's a one-person job. All right, it's not a one-person job. I said, there should be at least 2 people on the belt at all times. That's just my forte. But anyway. So, yeah. Listen, Joey Boy, I've always thanked him for his military service. Again, we usually get along, but last night he was just going a little nuts. And I couldn't take it anymore. And I had to tell a main manager. I was like, look, I said, I've told him my point. I said, I need some help. I said, he's trying to get me some help. And I told him I appreciate it. So I didn't snap, but and I didn't even yell. I raised my voice a little bit. That's all I said. And then I raised my voice a little bit, like when I spoke to the other manager. I said, he's wanting me to do unattainable goals. And I said, I can't complete the job if I don't have the help. I said, it's not a one-person job. And she totally understood where I'm coming from. And it wasn't like a big thing, Joy Boy. It was like probably a 2-minute talk with another manager. And I talked to the guy that does the drill sergeant stuff for about a minute. So it wasn't a big thing. But I think he took it the wrong way because he was like, literally, it was silent all night after I talked to the manager, which I did not mind because I don't want him going nuts on me and everybody else. I was like, that's fine. If you don't want to speak to me, that's fine. And then literally it was like no eye contact. It was like, all right, we're good, Fears. Thanks for your help. See you tomorrow. I was like, okay. And I totally respect him. I was like, cool. Thanks, man. I'm like, I'll see you tomorrow. Good job. I even said good job, and then I took off. So yeah, and I do, Richie. Richie says you get paid by the hour. Don't work hard, work smarter. Exactly. That's what I was trying to tell him. I said if we have more people on the belt, we can get the job done faster. So, but I get it. People called in on my line. I think like 3 people called in sick. So I was like, oh man. I said it's gonna be one of those nights. I said, if we don't have enough people, then it's going to take us even longer to get the job done. So that's when the managers have to go to other lines and say, hey, can you spare someone? Like the line's getting backed up on line such and such, that I'm on. So I get it. They were trying to find, and I appreciate them getting me help. I just wish the help would have stayed. They only stayed for about an hour, and then they left because they had to get back to their line. But I'm just like, can't they find someone just to stay here and help me? Because normally, and I'll be honest, Pretend Stories, Joy Boy, everybody else watching, it's not always like that. This happens like once in a blue moon. Usually there is another person there. If we have everybody there, sometimes we have too many people and they have to send people home. Like I've gotten sent home before. Like, hey, Fears, we've only got 20,000 tonight. Like we've got, 15 people on the belt, which is a lot. They said, we're going to have to, but they do it in cycles. Like if you go home one day, then the next day they'll be like, hey, we've got 25 people on this belt. Like, we're not going to send you home, Figures, because we sent you home the last time. Hey, we're going to send, Kenny and Tim home. And I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Right on. But yeah. So, yeah. So that was the only thing that was kind of a bummer last night. But again, it wasn't a big ordeal, And I appreciate them getting me help, so. Exactly, Pretend Story, life happens, and I appreciate the guy doing his service, but like, it just doesn't help when he gets into that military mode. He's like, come on, like, hurry up, speed up, and I'm like, dude, and I'm like, and you should have saw me last night, like, my shirt was dripping with sweat, and sometimes I wear a hat to work, sometimes I don't. If I do and it gets too hot, I'll take it off. I was dripping with sweat. I'm like, I'm working as hard as I possibly can, and I was like, what is the guy, what does he want from me? I'm like, I'm working like crazy, So, anyway. But yeah. Well, I mean, when you don't show up, that's a burden on the shoulders of others too. Exactly. Exactly. So when those people don't show up, stuff like what happened last night happens. So, yeah. So I don't blame my manager. And the guy is a nice guy. Usually we get along, but I don't know. Last night, one, I wasn't in a good mood anyway. Two, I was like, dude, we're there's a lack of people. So I'm like, I don't know what else you want from me. I'm like, I'm working as hard. We got the job done. Like I left around 7:50. So yeah. So we got it done. But anyway, that's all I want to say about that. But yeah, that's the only thing that was kind of a bummer last night. And he's a nice guy. He's a super nice guy. He is a nice guy. We get along. I just didn't like that he went into full military like rage mode last night. But anyway, like you said, life happens. Hopefully tomorrow we have an ample amount of people. And we usually do, but I looked around last night and I was like, damn. I'm like, we don't have many people tonight. And I didn't say it out loud, but in my mind I went, oh, here we go. I'm like, it's going to be one of those nights where we only have like 8 or 9 people on a belt, when there should be a lot more than that. So, because there's 2 different parts of the belt. You're down in the trenches, like where I am, on the chute, and then you walk over to the trucks. Then on the top part, the belt is moving, and they're putting packages in other trucks on the other side. So there's trucks on either side. There's trucks on this side, and there's trucks on the other side, and the belt is in the middle. And then there's a walk space to go from the belt to the trucks. So yeah. Anyway, I'm sure things will get better tomorrow. Again, it's happened before, pretend stories, but it's usually it's like what's the word? It happens once in a blue moon. So hopefully it won't happen tomorrow. So yeah. Anyway, let's continue on. All right. So I think I'm gonna start. I'm gonna review this first. So I've been watching Mr. Bean since I was 4 or 5 years old. I don't really remember who introduced me to it. Most likely my mom introduced me to it. Anytime I would go visit my British family, we would either stay in a hotel or we would stay at my Uncle Bill's. And almost always we stayed at my Uncle Bill's. But if my uncle had like company over, or if he went on vacation and took his key, then that's when we had to stay like at a bed and breakfast. Which, by the way, if you guys have never stayed in a British bed and breakfast, whoo, they are so nice, because it's not really like a hotel. It's more personable. It's actually someone's house that they've turned into a bed and breakfast. And anytime I've stayed at a bed and breakfast in England, like, they don't make you dinner, but they make you breakfast and lunch, and then dinner you have to kind of fend for yourself. But the food that they made always at these bed and breakfasts for breakfast or lunch, so good. So good. Anyway, so yeah, I started watching Mr. Bean like when I was like 5 or 6, something like that. The best way to describe Mr. Bean, and even Rowan Atkinson has said this in many interviews, and I'll give you guys a quote. He said, "I always thought of Mr. Bean as an 8-year-old stuck in a man's body." Stuck in a man's body. And he said, if you watch Mr. Bean, he's very competitive. Most 8-year-olds are very competitive. I know I was. And he said, he's always trying to be better than anyone else. And he goes, Mr. Bean is quite moody. Sometimes he's nice, sometimes he's evil, sometimes, he does wrong things to people, And he said, 8-year-olds are like that. Sometimes they're nice, sometimes they're horrible. They're all over the place. Most kids are like that. I know I was. Sometimes I was happy-go-lucky Johnny. Sometimes I was an evil little shit, Most kids are like that, So Rowan Atkinson said that in an interview. He said, I would describe Mr. Bean as a permanent 8-year-old stuck in a man's body. And he goes, if you watch Mr. Bean, he's got certain tics that he does. Like he always has to win. He always has to be more competitive than the other person. He always has to be first. He always has to do this. And he goes, that makes for a lot of comedic genius. And he is a comedic genius, Rowan Atkinson. He barely says anything in the series. Mr. Bean only says, in the whole series, almost every episode he either says one word or maybe one sentence. Like in one episode, he goes to the doctor and he says one word in the whole thing. he goes up to the lady, and in British hospitals, I don't know if they do it now, but they did it like in the 80s, like when he made the show. You ring the bell, because I've been to a British hospital before. You ring the bell, and there's so many people. She'll be like, name, and then if I'd be like, oh, Fears, and then she goes, please take a ticket and sit down, and when your number's called, the doctor will see you. You know, Americans don't do that. Usually when you go to the doctors, you book an appointment, and you show up and say, oh, my name's John Fears. I have a 9:30 appointment in the morning to see my doctor. I'm like, oh, cool. Like, yeah, he'll come and get you in a couple of minutes. Or if you go to a hospital, you know, it's different. You go to a hospital and say, I broke my arm. I need help. And then they'll make you wait for 5 or 10 minutes, and then they show you to a room, and then they start working on your arm or whatever. So anyway, so he says one word in that episode. She goes, can I have your name, please? And he says, Bean. And then she goes, and what seems to be the problem? And you don't even hear what he says to her. He just kind of goes like this, and then she gets closer, and then he whispers into her ear, what's wrong? And then she goes, oh, okay, we can take care of it. She goes, please take a ticket and have a seat, Mr. Bean. And then he goes, like that. He mumbles a lot, and he just takes a ticket, and then he sits down. And then the comedy ensues. So he says barely anything in the whole show in every single episode. It's all of his gestures. That's what I like about him. He barely says anything, and he's fucking hilarious. It's all about his movements, all of his facial expressions, and he, like I said, guys, he barely says anything. So some of my favorite episodes, I'd say without a doubt, my favorite episode, again, they only had 3 seasons, and each season had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Each season had 5 episodes. There was 3 seasons. And my favorite episode of all time is, where is it? I'm trying to find it. Hang on. Where is it? Hang on. Oh, where the hell is it? Oh, I can't remember the name of it. Checking In. There it is. Checking In. So he goes to it's Mr. Bean in room 426. So Randall's like, Fears, do you like that because it has 26 in it, like for Fears Man? I said, no. I said, Mr. Bean in room 426 is probably one of the most funniest episodes. I guess it doesn't tell you why he checks into a hotel. It looks like he's on a holiday because he has a suitcase, but he checks into a hotel, and then the minute he checks in, fucking insanity ensues. And I guess Mr. Bean's never been in a hotel before. So he gets there, he rings the bell, and then right off the bat, he starts being very competitive. Like, there's a guy right next to him, and like the guy's like, oh, are you checking in? And then the guy's like, oh, yes, sir. And he goes, would you like a pen, sir? And so he's like, oh, no, I've got my own. And then Mr. Bean looks at him, and the guy kind of looks at him, and then so Mr. Bean opens up his coat jacket and goes like that and wiggles a pen right in his fucking face. And then he starts pulling out tons of pens. And the guy's like, yeah, I get it. All right, you've got more pens than me. And he just keeps grabbing pens. And he takes a shitload of pens out. And then the fucking guy comes and says, are you checking in, sir? And Mr. Bean just kind of wiggles his head, yes. And he gives him a card and to give all of his information. And the guy's like, oh, would you like a pen, sir? And he goes, oh, thank you very much. And that's his one line. He says, thank you very much in the whole fucking... Every single show he says either one sentence or one word. And Roman said, that was my only stipulation. He goes, if I have to say a sentence, it's one sentence in the whole fucking show. He goes, because he says less is more. He goes, if I don't have to say a sentence, just one word. And so the only thing that he says out of the whole episode is thank you very much to the guy for giving him a pen. But the funny thing is he grabs the pen, he puts it in his coat pocket, then he reaches in and grabs one more fucking pen, and then he fucking starts writing. So he didn't really need that pen, so he's fucking hilarious. But the thing about it that I love so much, the best scene in the hotel is, sometimes hotels do this in America, they do it a lot in England. There's a restaurant inside the hotel, and some hotels do that, some hotels don't, but they almost always have a restaurant in the fucking hotels in England. Almost always. Like, for all the hotels that I've ever stayed in, I think one didn't. So they always have some type of food in a bed and breakfast over there, and they always have a hotel in almost every single one. So he goes into and the best scene is that guy that was checking in next to Mr. Bean. He's like in total competition with this guy. For some reason, I don't know why. It never explains why he hates this fucking guy. But he's like, Mr. Bean's like, oh, I'm going to fucking out-top this guy in everything he does. So this guy walks up, and he, like, grabs his plate, and he puts, like, one piece of chicken on his plate. And he makes a little salad and puts a little side salad on the same plate. What does Mr. Bean do? Instead of grabbing one chicken leg, he grabs, like, fucking 4 chicken legs, and then he just, like, dumps the whole fucking salad bar onto his fucking plate. And the guy kind of looks at him like, really, dude? And kind of, like, rolls his eyes. That scene is fucking hilarious. And so then, when the guy goes to sit down, Mr. Bean runs over, steals the guy's fucking seat, and he kind of looks at him like, really, man? Like, are you this fucking immature? And then Mr. Bean just kind of like fucking laughs and smiles at him. The other guy sits on the other side. They sit down, and then Mr. Bean starts copying his every mood. So if the guy puts salt on, Mr. Bean, like picture this like being the salt shaker, right? So this guy, he just grabs a salt shaker, puts a little on like that, and then Mr. Bean just goes nuts with the salt. He grabs it, and he's like, just dousing the shit out of it, and then he's like going up and down like lines of salt, and then he starts grabbing it, and the guy's all like, God, that's a lot of salt, you know? And then it's like a full-on war. So whatever the guy eats, so he'll have like a piece of sausage or a piece of chicken, Mr. Bean has to eat it 10 times quicker. That's my favorite scene out of that fucking, because it's so hilarious. Like, why the fuck would you be in competition with someone while you're eating? Like, that doesn't make any sense, but because Mr. Bean's doing it, it's fucking hilarious. And so I'm watching this, and it's one of my favorite episodes. If I had to pick, and that's from season 2. If I had to pick a favorite episode from season 1, let's see, it would probably be Mr. Bean goes to a restaurant. Oh, no. Whenever Mr. Bean is out with his girlfriend and they go see the horror movie A Nightmare on Elm Street. I guess that movie came out around the same time, Visions. So it showed. So the beginning, the beginning of the episode is him getting some popcorn, and then it doesn't say, probably for copyright reasons, they don't show the name of the movie. Like, it doesn't say A Nightmare on Elm Street. It just shows a picture of Freddy. So you know, okay, he's gonna go watch the movie. So you see him go into the fucking theater, and he's and again, he barely says anything. I think the one line is he gets this massive tub of popcorn, and then inside the massive tub, he grabs a little tiny, it's probably the size of this mug. He grabs a tiny little bucket of popcorn out of the massive tub of popcorn and gives it to his girlfriend. And then he steals a piece of popcorn, and then she smiles, and then she goes to grab something out of his big tub of popcorn, and he goes, "No, these are mine. That's yours," you know? And then the whole episode is him reacting to A Nightmare on Elm Street. And at first you think, like, oh, this movie's going to be great. I'm not going to be scared at all. And then within the first few seconds of him and his girlfriend watching it, he's scared out of his mind. And it's basically him, the whole episode. He's like, well, I can't let my girlfriend know that I'm this scared. So he's like kind of cringing. He's like watching it, and he's like got his eyes wide open like this, like forcing himself to fucking watch it. But he has to do it like on the sly, so she doesn't think like, oh, I'm not a manly man. Like, I can't get through this horror movie. And then a few times he like looks at his watch and was like, oh, it's late. Hey, come on, babe, let's get out of here. And then she's like, no, I want to watch this. And he's all like, oh God, what the fuck do I do now? You know? So that's probably my favorite episode from season 1. If I had to pick a third favorite from season 3, it's probably the episode Crazy Golf, when he goes to play miniature golf, and fucking chaos ensues. Because he doesn't really know the rules of miniature golf, so he kind of like makes up rules as he goes along. And he tries to be Mr. Hot Shit, right? So the first hole, he hits a hole in one, and he's like, oh yeah, I'm doing really good, all right. And so the owner of the miniature golf is watching him. And he's like, this guy thinks he's like the hottest shit in the world. So I guess, I don't know why the owner gets pissed off at Mr. Bean, but he kind of gets pissed off. And he's like, why does this guy think he's like the master fucking miniature golf guy? So he's like, oh, I don't know. He goes, I know what I'll do. He goes, I'll fuck with Mr. Bean's head. So Mr. Bean on the next hole, he misses it, and he's like, oh, like that. And then he goes to pick it up because the ball lands off the course in the grass, and he goes to pick it up, and then all of a sudden the owner goes, hey, hey. And then Mr. Bean kind of looks at him, and he goes, no, you can't pick that up with your hand. No, don't do that. And then Mr. Bean kind of goes like that and goes like this, and he goes like, no, no. So he goes on this fucking tirade of not picking the golf ball. That's where the humor comes in. So he tries to hit it back onto the fucking green, and it goes off into the street, and then the adventure continues. So he's chasing the ball all through the streets of London. Finally, like at midnight, like when the owner is like closing the miniature golf place up, Mr. Bean finally, like, he's kind of close. He's like down the street, and he goes, well, I can't pick the golf ball up with my fucking hand. So he takes a knife out, cuts the fucking grass out where the fucking ball is on the grass, picks up the mound of grass, runs, and then he kind of like shakes his hand like, no, like, don't fucking close up yet. And he puts the fucking piece of grass near the hole, hits it in, and then he's like, yes, I finally got it. And that was only hole 2. So, and then he takes his scorecard out, and so the first one, it says he got a hole in one. The second one says he put like 1,063, hits, because it took him all day to get back to the fucking thing. So those 3 are my absolute favorite. Yes, I would recommend this. It's funny Americana. Well, actually, funny British. And it didn't come over to the States until like a year later. So they played Mr. Bean for a whole year or two over in England, and then it finally came over to America. It wasn't this much. I don't even know if they have these on Blu-ray. If they do, I'm gonna try to get them. But I've had this. I bought this like 10 years ago, maybe 11 years ago. So I've had it for quite a long time. Joy Boy says your boss is not gonna be happy. You know what? He's not that type of guy, Joy Boy. I'm sure he's gonna forget about everything. Because we don't hold grudges. That's not the first time me and that guy have gotten. We didn't even have an argument. Like, that's not the first time we've gotten. There's been a few times where he's gotten like into his hardcore like drill sergeant mode, and I didn't even say anything. Someone else didn't like it, and someone else kind of said like, "Hey, look, man, you got to chill out a little bit." So I'm not the only one that said it, Joey Boy, but he wasn't mad at me. I wasn't mad at him. I guarantee you nothing will happen tomorrow, And if it does, I'll just talk to my manager and say, look, I wasn't disrespectful to him. I just said, hey, can you just kind of cut me some slack? I'm the only guy down here. So I seriously doubt anything will happen. But if it does, I'll just tell the truth. I have no reason to lie, Because I wasn't disrespectful to him. I just said, hey, look, man, I said, we're all trying to get the job done. I'm only one guy down here. I need some help. Either can you help me? And he actually did. Towards the end, when they took all those people away, Joy Boy, he actually took off his jacket, and then he started lending a hand. And I even said to him, hey, man, I appreciate it. And he just kind of shook his head and went, yeah, no worries, Fears. And he actually said no worries. So I don't think anything will happen. So how would I grade this? Because I grew up with it, well, there's a couple reasons why I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. One, it's so funny. And he barely says anything in the whole fucking series. Like I said, a word here, a sentence there, not much. Like I said, in each episode, he either says one full sentence or one word, one single word. So for a character that doesn't say much, it's all kind of, what do you call that type of comedy? It's all kind of very dry, slapsticky British humor. Because British humor, it's very dry. Yeah, and sometimes it's hard to digest. But once you get the rhythm of British humor, you'll love it. So, but I've been watching it since I was a kid. I would definitely give it a 9 out of 10. I would suggest it. So get this. This is the original TV show. The movies, Mr. Bean the movie and then Mr. Bean's Holiday, they're okay. But I love the actual television series more than the movies. Like, again, the movies are alright because it's a movie, they make Mr. Bean talk more in the movies. I don't like that Mr. Bean talks a whole lot. That's why I don't really like those movies. They're okay, They're all right. You know, he's still classic Mr. Bean, but he says a lot more. Like in Mr. Bean, the movie, he says more than one sentence. He says probably like 20 to 25 questions or answers or one words, and I'm like, this ain't Mr. Bean, man, you know? But because it's a movie, I guess the studios make him talk more. And even Roman said, I didn't really like the studio wanted Mr. Bean to talk more. He doesn't talk a lot in the movies, but he talks way more than a television show. He goes, I actually like doing all the movements and telling a story without even saying, you know, besides a sentence or a word. So that's why I like the television series way better than the movies. But definitely a good, definitely 9 out of 10. Good episodes. Not all of them are a hit out of the park, but most of them are a hit. Most of them are a home run. Like the ones I'd say, like let's see, in season 1, which is the church scene, that one's pretty good. The one that's the worst out of season 1 is probably the post when he goes to the post office. He gets stuck in one of those red post box because in England, I don't know if they have them anymore. They may still have them. You know, like if you guys just drop your letters or your mail like in a letter box, they have them in England. They still have them in America, some places. But in England, they've got these red post box where they open the door and they just pull out the mail, and it's real tall. It's like a red, kind of like tall post. And for some reason, I think he puts his mail in and he gets his hand stuck in it, and then he opens the door and he steps in the red thing to like pull out his fucking hand because it's so stuck. And then when the post office guy comes, he just sticks his hand in all the letters, and because Mr. Bean doesn't speak a lot, he kind of waves like, hello, I'm in here, and then the guy doesn't hear him, and then he closes the fucking door, and the whole episode he's stuck in the fucking, post, the thing. So that one's kind of boring. In season 2, probably the worst episode, and that one is, let's see here. He does a whole episode in a car. That one's like not really that good. And I think, that one's dressing in the car. He's going to the dentist's office and he dresses himself in the car basically while he's driving. So that scene's kind of funny, but it just takes so long to get to the dentist office, and I don't know. It's just that scene's not really that good. And then in the third one, probably the worst one, is when he takes karate lessons, and the actual karate scene is pretty funny. But most of the episode takes place half in the karate studio and half in the locker room, like when he's getting changed into his karate suit. So I don't know. So most of them are home run episodes, but those 3, not my cup of tea. So yeah. Pardon the quote. Cup of tea. So definitely good. Check it out, though. Check it out. Pretty good stuff. Pretty good stuff. All right. Next one. Visions. You said you've seen this before. All right. So Fears, actually, the first time Fears watched this, I was actually in England. I had never heard of Howard the Duck when I was in America. We went to, and the reason why I picked this, I was like, oh, the first time I watched it with my British grandma and all my British cousins. So that's why I picked this one, because it would tiptoe off of this. So anyway, I had never heard of Howard the Duck. I had never seen it in America. We go over there for a vacation, and I asked my mom, hey, instead of staying at Uncle Bill's, like, tonight, can I, like, spend the night with all my British cousins? Because I hadn't seen them in years. And so we hung out. It was me, my British cousin Andrew, my brother, and then my British cousin Samantha. And we pretty much stayed up all night watching movies and playing video games. And it was, like, classic games. Like, they had a Nintendo and a Super Nintendo. And I was like, oh, that's so cool that they have Super Nintendo over here. Fucking right on. And they're like, well, yeah, they're like, just because we're a different country. But I was like, yeah, but that kind of blew my mind. I'm like, I thought Nintendo was only, over in America and stuff. And they're like, no, we have it. And I was like, oh, that's cool. So we started playing, and then I guess it was my cousin Andrew's like favorite movie, and they said, "Hey," they said, "we just got this new movie called Howard the Duck," and I was like, "Right on," and I had no idea what he was talking about. So we stayed the night, and we're watching movies, and finally, when it came to that one, I just started losing my mind because I'm like, well, clearly it's a dude in a suit. It's kind of a little person in a duck costume. It's a terrible movie how they made it, but it's fucking hilarious. It's like that cheesy shit. I don't know why George Lucas. It says George Lucas on the Blu-ray. It says George Lucas presents right up there. So I don't know why he sponsored this because he's not really into Marvel movies, or you wouldn't put George Lucas with Marvel movies, right? So I remember I'm like, George Lucas is all about Star Wars, and I was like 8 or 9 or 10 at the time. And my cousin's like, yeah, I don't know why he produced this either, Fears, but like he supported Howard the Duck. And I was like, well, I thought his whole thing was Star Wars, but I'm like, all right, whatever. So I start watching it, and it is a funny, cheesy movie. Really, Howard doesn't have any like superpowers. He's just a duck from a duck planet, thousands of miles away from Earth. Everything about his planet has to do with ducks, you know? Like, I know, like, I think his car is like an egg shape, you know? Whenever he's trimming the hair off of his beak, it's like the tip of his like razor it looks like a duck bill. Everything, you know? And then one of the first scenes is in his apartment. He goes over to the fridge to grab a beer, and on his wall, he's got like nudie pictures of like, and it says like, instead of like Playboy, it's Play Duck. And he's got like nudie pictures of like fucking like sexy duck women. And I'm just fucking losing my mind, you know what I'm saying? So, is it a funny, cheesy movie? Yes. It's probably one of the worst Marvel movies, but it's fucking hilarious. So, Visions, did you like it? Did you like Howard the Duck? Probably the best scene in it is at the very end where he takes down the evil doctor guy, and the evil doctor turns into like octopus fucking swamp creature kind of thing. I don't even know what you call it. It's just like a massive like monster with like octopus tentacles, and he's got 2 little beady eyes, a massive mouth with like fangs, and like I said, octopusy type of like hands or wings or whatever, and he's got like 4 or 5 of these tentacle type of things all flying around, and it's Howard the Duck versus that fucking guy, and he uses this fucking like laser cannon that's purple. It's a purple laser that flies out of this cannon, and that's probably the best scene out of the whole movie, where he takes down the fucking evil doctor slash octopus looking fucking creature from another world. So yeah. Vision says, I don't think I saw it. I'm reading the IMDb now. Oh, I thought you said you watched it. You said that you watched it like years ago. Oh, maybe that was for something else. You were probably saying that you watched this a couple of years ago, right, Visions? Anyway, long story short, I watched it. The first time I watched it, I was like 8 or 9. So I thought it was funny, you know, because I'm like an 8 and 9-year-old. I'm like, all right, so it's a duck from another duck world, comes to Earth, and then it's got the chick out of Back to the Future, the girl that played Lorena out of Back to the Future. What's her name? Leah Thompson. And Leah Thompson was in shitloads of 80s movies. I don't know if she does much work now. I know she goes to a lot of Back to the Future conventions because she's always hanging out with like the guy that plays Biff Tannen. He's always at conventions. And then a lot of Christopher Lloyd doesn't do a lot of film work now. He does a lot of convention stuff. But granted, that guy Christopher Lloyd's like 85 years old. I know he did a cameo in that Seth MacFarlane movie. There's 100 Ways to Die in the West, and he plays Doc Brown, and it's a parody on like Back to the Future 3. And I thought that cameo was really cool. So yeah. So, and I check it out. She plays like a hot, sexy like band member, and I think their band name is like the Cherry Pops or the Cherries or something. And I gotta admit, Leah Thompson, she's pretty sexy, cause back then she was like around my age. She was like 32, 34. And I remember watching it, and I was like 9 years old, and I was like, man, this chick is sexy. So yeah. Vision says, oh, I did see it. I was saying I don't think I liked it. Okay, I got you. Never knew it was a Marvel movie, though. That's neat. Yeah, it's a Howard the Duck is a Marvel character. See? The Marvel comic character comes to life. So yeah. So I never knew it was Marvel until I figured, but I like those 80 versions attempts, because this was not the first attempt in the 80s. They made an attempt in the 80s to make a Spider-Man television show. Horrible. But my friend's like, oh, Fierce, you love all that cheesy stuff. You'll like it. It literally is a guy. He doesn't even shoot web. He has a web cartridge on it that shoots out white rope to look like webs, you know? His costume looks freaky. You know, it kind of looks like Spider-Man, but not really. They made an 80s version of Shazam where he's a kid that travels around in a Winnebago with his uncle, and they fight crime, and whenever he needs to turn into Shazam, he says Shazam, and then he turns into a man and jumps out of the fucking Winnebago and like takes the villains down. And it's got a big lightning bolt on the side of the fucking Winnebago trailer. And I'm like, holy Jesus. And then they made an 80s version of the Incredible Hulk. I liked that one. That one, the television show was fucking great. But then they made an 80s version of like Captain America, and it's okay, but it's really cheesy. Thank God they made a better version with Chris Evans. Chris Evans' version of Captain America, man, he's fucking on point. He's a real man's man actor. You know, all the chicks dig him. You know, he's got the looks, he's got the attitude, and he's like, bitch, I'm fucking Captain America, motherfucker. So yeah, Visions, I had no idea that this was a Marvel comic book character until I watched the movie for the first time when I was 8 or 9. Now, I love this hunk of garbage. I haven't watched it in a while. I think I watched this maybe a month ago. So it was good to, and that's like one of the first few times after I was seeing it as a kid, you know. So anyway, I think I'm gonna end it there, guys. I'll save the last topic for this weekend, but I'm getting really tired. We've been going for an hour and 43 minutes. Vision says, do you know they made a better version of Edward Scissorhands? Yeah, you told me about it, Visions. The fucking porno one or whatever. I'm not watching that one, man. Fuck that noise. No. I'll stick to the Tim Burton Edward Scissorhands, because that's actually a great movie. And all the scenes where him and Vincent Price are in the castle, that's some cool scenes, man. I just wonder where Tim Burton gets all these crazy ideas, like a man that has scissors and stuff. Like, he's kind of goth, or I guess he's full goth, Tim Burton. But if you watch some of his drawings, they're real kind of like gothic, you know. He's got a real gothic type of like look to his films. Like The Nightmare Before Christmas is very gothy, you know. Like he said, I want to make Halloween Town in the movie the colors of Halloween. And there's only really a couple of colors for Halloween. There's white for ghosts, orange for pumpkins, purple would be for witches, and then black. And most of Halloween Town is black, white, and orange, if you watch in the film. Then when he goes to the woods, it's white and black. And the only time it gets kind of colorful is when he sees the doors in the forest. And then when he goes to Christmas Town, it's very colorful. But whenever he's not at Christmas Town, everything's kind of those white, black, orange, purple kind of colors. So Tim Burton is very gothy, but I do like his films, though. You know what, Visions? I haven't seen that one Frankenweenie where that kid loses his dog, and then he doesn't want to lose his dog, so he goes to like the pet cemetery and digs up his dog, and then I think it's a Disney movie. It turned into a Disney movie. He buries his dog, and then he's like, you know what, like I love science. I could probably bring my dog back to life. So he goes to the cemetery, re-digs up his dog, takes his dead corpse back to his room, and it's kind of like a Frankenstein scene. Like you see him like patching up his dog, and then he puts lightning into the dog, and then he comes back as a dead dog. And I don't know. I haven't seen it yet, but it's supposed to be like a cartoon, like animation movie for Disney. I haven't seen that one. Now I have seen Corpse's Bride. Tim Burton made that. That's pretty good. And Johnny Depp did the voice of the main character. But I need to see Frankenweenie. I've seen almost every Tim Burton. Like if you watch Batman 1 and 2, Tim Burton directed Batman 1 and 2. That's got a very gothy quality. Especially if you look at Wayne Manor, it's like a black and white mansion. It's very gothy, you know. But Bruce Wayne, he's always had that dark kind of quality to him. So whenever they asked Tim Burton to direct that, he was like, ooh, this is like, I'm going to be a kid in a candy store. Because Bruce Wayne is very dark. I mean, anyone would be if they saw their parents murdered in front of their face. So that kind of really fucks up Bruce Wayne. Then he, makes the Batman persona. And Batman has always been very dark. He speaks dark. He acts dark. He doesn't give the villains even an inch. So if you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. And he pretty much, like Batman, beats up the villains. He kills the villains. Not a lot of superheroes kill. Like I don't think Superman has ever killed anyone in a movie. As far as I think. Maybe. I can't remember, but Superman definitely would not kill anyone before Batman. Batman would kill them. He'd be like, oh yeah, like this guy's fucking annoying me. Like, yeah, he's fucking dead, But yeah. Yep. But yeah. Definitely Tim Burton. He's one of my favorite directors, Visions, because he makes he's got a different look to movies. He's got different ideas. Like you wouldn't think, like George Lucas, right? He's very talented. He's very creative. But honestly, could you see George Lucas directing Edward Scissorhands? Probably not. Because George Lucas, he's creative in a different way than Tim Burton is. Like he does. But see, I couldn't see Tim Burton directing a Star Wars film. I couldn't see that. I've heard of it, Visions. Randall has told me about that movie. I know they made a bunch of sequels. Didn't they make like 4 Darkman? But Randall said the first one is like the best. Right? How many sequels did they make? They made, 3 sequels, 4 sequels? But yeah, I've heard of Darkman, but I've never seen it. I know he gets burnt up and then he wears a trench coat and kind of a fedora and then he's got white bandages all over his face. So I've heard of it. Randall made me watch the trailer. I've watched the trailer. I just haven't seen the whole movie yet. There's so many movies on Fierce's to-do list. And Visions, don't get mad at me. I think you should give Battle Truck another look, buddy. I finally watched all of it the other night on YouTube. Loved it. Love me some Battle Truck, man. That shit was fucking great. Action-packed, takes place in the future of 1994 and shit. Their version of 1994. Man, we gotta save the oil after the oil wars and shit, And then the fucking kind of this lone fucking ranger guy on a fucking motorcycle, I thought you would love it, Visions, because you own a motorcycle and cars, So I'm like, all right, Vision, he fucking owns a motorcycle. This fucking guy got this helmet. He's got this fucking gun and shit on a fucking motorcycle, taking down the fucking evil villain guy in the fucking battle truck. I was like, man, this is right up Vision's alleyway, and you didn't like it. F for presentation, my friend. No, I'm just joking. You're gonna like whatever you're gonna like. I'm just playing around. The camera zooms and angles are great. So are the effects. The guy that did Evil Dead and Spider-Man made it. Oh, Darkman? Oh, that's what's up. Again, you know what? Don't hate me, guys. I've only seen probably one of the Evil Dead movies. I need to see Evil Dead 2 and all the different... I think they made some sequels. I've only seen the first Evil Dead. with Ash. Is it Act or Ash or whatever the hell his name is? And he's got the fucking chainsaw as a hand or some shit. And Evil Dead, it's kind of like a parody, comedy, and horror all mixed into one. So the first Evil Dead was great. I need to see all the other sequels to it, though. Vision said, "Yeah, I watched all of Battle Truck. It's not a good movie." Oh, listen, I agree. It is the most cheesiest fucking movie. I don't know if it's the cheesiest, but it's one of the cheesiest movies I've seen. But Vision says, but it's kind of fun. Oh, it's fun. It's like an action adventure type of thing, but it's total 80s. The guy's like, you're finished. And then the guy's like in the fucking truck and he's like, he either says like, not yet or not so much, motherfucker, or he says some shit and he hits the fucking guy with the fucking, helmet on and he goes flying, on the ground and shit. So there's one scene like where he's like revving his fucking like motorcycle, like doing 100 miles an hour down this fucking hill and like fucking tanks and shit are chasing him or some cars or whatever the hell it was. And yeah, hilarious. So, Visions, please tell me Chud is way better than Battle Truck. And you blew my mind when you said the guy that plays Marv, and so his name is Daniel Stern. I finally figured out his real name is Daniel Stern. He plays Marv in the fucking Home Alone series. He plays him in Home Alone 1, Home Alone 2. He was also in City Slickers, and I love City Slickers. Those City Slicker 1 and City Slickers 2. Those are funny comedies. The best one is where, I think his name is Chuck. Daniel Stern's character in City Slickers, I think his name is Chuck. And he's taking a shit, and there's a rattlesnake behind him. But when he pulls his pants down, he accidentally sits on a cactus, right? So when he turns around, he thinks, oh shit, a fucking rattler fucking, stung me in the ass. And so he goes up to like Billy Crystal's character and he's like, oh my god, that son of a bitch snake. He goes, it bit me in the ass. And he goes, quickly, someone suck out the poison. And then all of a sudden his two friends are looking at him like, I'm not sucking on this guy's ass. And he goes, dude, you gotta help me. You gotta help me. I'm your friend. I don't want to die. And then he goes, Billy Crystal's character's like, okay, all right. He goes, but you're gonna owe me major for this. And so he like bends over and he like pulls his pants down. And then he's like, going like that, getting ready, and then all of a sudden, I fucking lost it, Visions. Then Daniel Stern, his character's like, would you suck already? He's like, suck on my ass, suck the poison out. And then the best scene, the best quote is, he goes, that is not a snake bite. And he's like, what? And he goes, you sat on a cactus, and he pulls out the fucking, cacti fucking stick. And he's like, oh God, thank God. It's like, thank God that fucking rattler didn't bite me on the ass. And then he goes, and then Billy Crystal's character, his name is Mitch. He goes, Mitch, you're a great friend. And he goes, I know, buddy, I know. And he goes, no, man. He goes, you're a great friend. He goes, you were going to do it. You were going to suck on my ass. And when he says that, I fucking lost my goddamn mind. But he's got like tears in his eyes. He goes, you were going to do it, Mitch. He goes, you're a great friend. You were going to suck on my ass. And I couldn't take it anymore. I was on the ground fucking losing my shit. Oh my God. I was like, the way he says it is fucking great. You were going to suck on my ass. I fucking lost my mind. Oh my God. It was hysterical. Yeah. But no, I can't wait to watch Chud. So yeah. That blew my mind. That blew my mind that he was in that movie. Because I don't see Daniel Stern. Is Chud a horror movie, Visions, or is it more like an action adventure type of movie? I know you said it's like about a New York subway monster or some shit. Still need to watch Chud 2. Oh shit! I didn't even know there was a Chud. Oh, hang on, wait a minute. Oh my God, I have to watch the trailer. Hang on, I'm gonna do a live reaction. I had no idea, Visions, that there was a Chud 2. Holy shit! Hang on, going to YouTube right now. Hang on. Oh my Lord. You were holding out on me, man. I didn't know there was a Chud 2. Oh, shit. All right, let's watch it. All right, Chud 2 trailer. Oh, my God. Well, if it's anything like Chud 1, I cannot wait. All right, here we go. Oh, my God. The fucking picture of this guy. He's all like that. Oh, man. Wow. All right, well, let's watch it. It's 1 minute and 46 seconds. Chud 2, Bud the Chud official trailer. Oh, my Lord. Oh, shit. All right, here we go. Chud 2. All right, here we go. All right, here we go. All right.
Eat 'em up! Eat 'em up! These are Chud.
Cannibalistic humanoid underground dwellers. Prepare for horror, laughs, and thrills in this outrageous...
So we're only 20 seconds into it, and this fucking Chud guy, like, just eradicates this guy's fucking head off. Oh, my Lord. This is great.
Sequel to the home video hit Chud. Chud 2.
Bud the Chud.
Starring Brian Robbins from Head of the Class, Garrett Graham of Police Academy 6, Robert Vaughn, Bianca Jagger, Larry Linville of MASH, and many other popular stars.
A dead body is nothing to be afraid of.
He's suave.
Is he heterosexual?
He's charming.
Oh, my God.
He's different.
Well, he eats people. I guess that could be interpreted as
He
personality.
eats people. I'm fucking losing it.
He's Bud the Chud.
Oh, my God.
A decomposing humanoid, the result of a military experiment.
This is great.
Colonel Masters.
Oh, my God.
There was a reason that these creatures were kept underground. For instance, the little matter of the drugs, cannibalistic side effects.
This is great.
Now he's loose on the town, spreading the horrifying Chud disease everywhere.
What in the wide world of sports is going on in here?
This is
What are we
great.
talking about, some animated corpse? You got it? Everything it infects mutates.
The army, the police, and the FBI can't seem to stop this ravenous
And
plague.
if you notice, they always make the army and the police like fucking stupid, like in horror movies. Like remember Visions at the end of like Nightmare on Elm Street? Like the girl is screaming her head off, and she's stuck in the house, like, "Help, police! Help me! Help me!" And then all of a sudden, you hear some police officer said, "Everything is gonna be okay, ma'am." And she's like, "No, you're not, you fucking idiot. Freddy is chasing me and trying to kill me." They always make the military and police so stupid in these horror movies. Why? I don't know. Probably because they want to make it like, you know, the killer or the monster is coming after the person, and the military, the police, they can't do a thing about it, you know, even though they try.
But a group of clever kids might just chill the Chuds.
Unreal.
Chud 2. This Chud's for you.
This is great. All right. Well, there it is. All right. I have to add this to the list. Visions, I am adding Chud to the list. Chud 2 looks even more hilarious than Chud 1. Oh, God. I cannot wait. They're going to be on the to-do. All right. Well, listen. When I go into town, when I go into, I'm looking for Chud 1 and Chud 2 on Blu-ray. Let's see if I can find it already. Let's see if I can find Chud 2 on Blu-ray on eBay. Let's see. I'll start on eBay because I know I found Chud 1 on Blu-ray. All right, here we go. All right. Yep, there it is. So I found. Let's see, I found Chud. I just wanted to make sure it was still on eBay. There it is, Chud on Blu-ray. All right. Now, let's do Chud 2 on Blu-ray and see if it comes up. Oh, please, God, let it be on Blu-ray. Oh, my God. Yep, there it is. Yes! Oh, yes. It's not bad. Chud 2 is $32 on eBay, and let's see, how much was Chud 1? Chud 1 was... How much was it? Let's see here. How much was Chud 1? Chud 1 was... Oh, where are you? $49. So, all right, Chud 1 is actually more expensive than Chud's 2. That's not bad, though. $49. That's not bad. Well, with tax, it's probably going to be like $51 or $52. But again, I'll look for somewhere cheaper. Like, so since it's that much expensive, hopefully it's more cheaper on Amazon. So anyway. Yo, Larry, what's on? Yeah, better late than never, buddy. Let's see. Vision says, I'd say it's mostly a horror movie. Yeah. Okay. All right. Visions, you were holding out on me, man. I never thought there was. When were you gonna tell me that there was a Chud 2? You should have told me that right when you told me about Chud 1, buddy. Because I just watched the trailer. Oh shit! I cannot wait. The guy, look, he was like that, like he was all fucking deformed and shit. He's sitting in a goddamn bathtub, bathing himself a fucking rotting corpse. Why the fuck would a rotting corpse be in a bathtub bathing himself? And then somebody comes in the trailer and he's like, oh, like that, and he's all like, it's fucking over with. I cannot wait. Then they're like creeping out of a fucking cemetery, doing the classic zombie shit, like walking down the hill, all that shit. And I'm just like, oh, I cannot wait. It's gonna be fucking great. Oh man, Pretend Story says sounds like a great cast. Oh, it is. It is. And the same villain, Visions. You know that old, like, classically trained actor guy that plays the villain in Black Moon Rising? He plays one of the military guys in Chud 2. Because as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh shit, this guy's in fucking, that guy's been in everything. He was in, Superman 3. And the last movie he did before he passed away, that old trained actor guy, he was in, that fucking comedy with the same guys that did South Park, the creators of South Park. The last movie, that old classically trained actor, I don't remember his name. It's like Robert something. The Visions, you know what I'm talking about. The old guy that plays the villain in Black Moon Rising, the guy that steals all the cars and shit. That guy, the old guy. The last movie he did before he passed away was Basketball, with the creators of South Park. That's the last movie he did. So that guy's been in fucking everything, and he's a really good actor. Like, he's been in cheesy horror movies, he's been in comedies, he's been in dramatic, and he started like acting like in the 40s or some shit. That's how old that fucking guy is. Now he's passed away, unfortunately, but man, his acting career, he's done good, bad, ugly, amazing, epic. I mean, he's done it all. I never thought he'd be in Chud 2, though. But did we ever expect him to be in Black Moon Rising? Probably not. And his performance in I love him as the super villain in Superman 3. He plays an epic villain. He's played a lot of villains in his life. He's played good characters, but even actors tell you sometimes it's better to play the villain, Vision says, oh yeah, I don't know his name, but that's where I recognize him from. Yeah, so as soon as I saw him in the trailer for Chud 2, I'm like, oh shit, I'm like, he's in Black Moon Rising, he's the fucking villain in Superman 3, he was in Basketball, and he plays kind of like a swindler. He's not, well, the guy in Basketball, he kind of plays, he's like half good and half villain, He's kind of like that middleman type of guy, but yeah. I never expected that classically trained theater actor to be in Chud 2. But in Hollywood, listen, if I ever got to Hollywood, I would take whatever role, I wouldn't be picky. I'd be like, look, I just want to be in a fucking movie, man. Before Fears Dies, I just want to be in one movie, I'm halfway there. I've been in a documentary before about conventions, but, and I've shown you guys that one, but I've never been like in a real like movie. I'd love anything. Like literally, like when I auditioned for Star Wars, I was like, give me whatever part. Give me like I don't even care. I don't even have to have any lines. Put me in one of those stormtrooper outfits. Let me run across the street. That's good enough for me. Have some Jedi like shove a lightsaber in Fetus's chest and kills me on camera. Whatever. Let me play a dead riding corpse like Walker on The Walking Dead. That'd be cool, And I didn't tell you guys about this. They actually had auditions a long time ago when Walking Dead came out. It was an online audition, and I sent them my picture, and I never got a call back. And they said, they said, take a picture. I remember I did two versions. I went to a costume shop and bought makeup. So they said put makeup on and act like a zombie in one photo, and then they said, then do a normal photo of you just standing there smiling. So I sent them a normal picture of Fears, and then I had my friend I put up like green makeup around my eyes, and I had blood coming out of my mouth and shit. I guess they just didn't like Fears as a walker, but I did. But it was just a picture. So I was waiting. I was like, man, I really want to call back. I want to fucking call back from Walking Dead, and I never got one. I tried though. So yeah. Joy Boy, it wasn't even an argument. It was a disagreement, Larry. And if you want to hear what the disagreement was about, watch the rest of the stream. But yeah, I doubt like anything will, because he's not that type of guy. I've got like 3 male bosses and I got 1 female boss. None of them are like about getting revenge. They are nice people. Even the guy that I got into a disagreement about, he's a nice guy. Just sometimes I don't like when he does the drill sergeant type of thing, but that's what it is. Let's see. Oh, shit. Visions, I don't even... You know what? Fuck it. I want to read what Visions said. He went, you know what, Fears? He goes, they probably needed inbred-looking people like Matman to be a walker. Listen, I wouldn't even want Matman as a walker, because Matman's disgusting, you know what I'm saying? Like, fuck that guy, Let's just not bring him up anymore, Visions. Even talking about him, I fucking hate Matman. Because he's disgusting, He's a weirdo. Larry says, we both seem to like the old TV shows. We are old. Yeah, we are. Larry, you said you're like near your 50s, right? I remember you telling me that. I was telling everybody, Larry, the reason why I like those old TV is I watched a lot of them with my family growing up. Because Fears was in front of the TV. If I wasn't playing video games, I was watching TV all the time as a kid. Wasted a lot of hours in front of the TV, but you know what? I watched all those like Lassie, fucking MacGyver, all those classic ones. And they put a lot more effort into those old TV shows. You have to admit that, Larry. They put a lot more effort into those old TV shows. Now these days they have CGI and it's all blow me up and like I don't know, it's just they don't make a lot of family TV shows anymore. That's just my opinion. Which I think they should, because like I want to be a dad someday. But like what's really cool is if I ever have any kids, I'll just show my son or daughter like, hey, this is what I grew up on. This is what my dad grew up on. Like, let's watch MacGyver. Let's watch Star Trek. Let's watch Lassie. So I'll show my kids someday all those classic TV shows. If I ever get married, if I ever find a Mrs. Fears, if I ever have kids. You can't have kids until you find a Mrs. Fears. That's the hardest part. Finding a Mrs. Fears has been so hard. I've met a lot of Mrs. No's. I'm sick of meeting Mrs. No. I'm ready to meet Mrs. Fears. And I even told Visions, she doesn't have to be a flowing model. I've dated chubby girls before. I've dated girls with kids. Because Visions said, hey, Fears, would you ever date a girl with kids? I said, yeah. I said, I already have. There was a girl in college that I dated for a little while. And the reason why that didn't work out, she moved away. She said, oh, well, I'm from Arizona State, and I'm done with school, so I'm going to go back home. And I was like, oh, where's home? And I think it was Colorado, I think she said. And then I started dating another girl, and her name was Amy. And the only reason why that didn't work out is because I said, well, I'm going to move back to Missouri. She goes, well, all my family's in Arizona. I said, you can always visit them. And I really wanted to get an apartment with this girl. I said, well, why don't you come? I said, either I can stay here, but I really wanted to go back to Missouri. I said, why don't you come to Missouri and we'll get an apartment and, we can visit your mom and dad whenever you want. She's like, no. She's like, I'm going to stay in Arizona. I was like, well, I don't know what to tell you then. So she's like, well, let's just be friends then, because obviously, long-distance relationships don't work out. And I said, all right. I said, I really don't want to do that. I said, I would rather just stay with you. I said, you're a nice chick, Amy. And she just didn't want to move back to Missouri with me. So I was like, all right, whatever. So, yeah. Larry says, so true. TV shows were the best back in the day. Good, clean, and wholesome. Yeah, like, these days there's not a lot of good shows. Like, I'll tell you, I was telling everybody, Larry, the last two, like, good, epic TV shows that I watched from start to finish, I love The Big Bang Theory, because they do some good, a lot of it's nerdy shit, but that's okay, because I love nerd shit. I am a big nerd. But they also have some shows that teach you about, don't do drugs, don't do this, don't do that. And it's good, wholesome, clean fun. So I watched that one. And I've got the whole series up there. And then I don't own it yet, but I went to my library one day and I was like, oh shit, they got every season, every single episode of Gotham. So I sat down and watched Gotham like a year or two ago. So it's been a minute since I've watched it. I was like, this is pretty good. I'm like, Gotham's pretty good. So Gotham was pretty good. But I was like, but I already had in my mind, like, well, I love Batman, so I'm like, I'm probably going to enjoy Gotham. But I've told Larry, I've told Vision this a million times. I don't judge a book by its cover. Like, I'll watch it, and then after I watch it, if it's not good, I'll be like, oh god, I fucking hated this. That's when I judge. I'll be like, all right, guys, I watched it. Yeah, this fucking movie, don't even waste your time. It's fucking horrible. It's garbage. Don't even watch it. It's fucking horrible, you know. But if I watch it and I love it, I'll be like, oh guys, you have got to check this out. That's why I've been doing a lot of reviews lately, and I've been enjoying the reviews, you know. But I'm getting tired, so I think I'm gonna save the last topic. The last topic was obsession with cheesy movies. I think I'm gonna save that for this weekend because I'm getting tired. So, and plus, I fell asleep on the couch, so I haven't had any dinner yet. So I'm going to make din a late dinner and watch 2 more episodes of Star Trek, and then I'm conking out. By the way, I'm almost all the way through Star Trek Enterprise, the one that my mom bought me. So my mom got me for Christmas Star Trek Enterprise, and then my brother and his wife got me the 4th season of Star Trek Discovery, so I haven't even busted that open yet. And then they got me the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Picard. So I've watched a couple of episodes of the 1st season of Star Trek Picard, and I'm probably going to watch Star Trek Picard first before Discovery, because I've already watched the first 2 seasons of Star Trek Discovery, and it's alright, it's okay. But so far, every single episode I've watched of Star Trek Picard, good stuff. Good stuff, my friend. Good stuff. But you know what, Larry? I forgot how old you are. You're older than me, right? I remember, yeah, listen, I agree, we're both old, buddy. We are both old. But I know you're near like your 50s or something. I remember you telling me that. You know what, buddy? Don't feel bad, you know? You're as old as you feel, you know? Like, I don't really feel almost 40. Fears feels like he's still a good solid 25 years old, you know what I'm saying? So, if you bring that energy, then you'll be young forever, you know? That's what I like about my dad. My dad, even though he got sick, he was like, bullshit, he goes, I'm not giving up. And I was like, Dad, you shouldn't give up. So if I ever got cancer, you guys know I would still be filming away, and I'd be like, God damn it, I'm gonna fight this motherfucker until the very end. And that's why I have so much respect for my dad. My dad did not give up. My dad always believed that he was gonna get better, and I was like, that's good. I'm like, because you can't have a bad negative view about it. It sucks that my dad got cancer, you know. Like, I wish I could talk to him right now. You guys have no idea how much I miss him. I think about him every day. And hopefully you guys don't get mad at Fears for talking about my dad a lot. I don't think you guys care, but man, it's good to talk to you guys about my dad because, you know, I live here alone. So it's very therapeutic when I talk to my fans about the stuff that's bothering me. Like Randall said, I shouldn't talk about stuff that's bothering me. Sometimes I have a fear of it, you know, because I'm like, what if the trolls use that against me? But most of the time it's good to talk about if you hold all that shit inside you. So, because until I got a girlfriend, like really the only people I talk to is you guys, my family, my friends back home, and then Sam and Randall. But really, I haven't heard from Sam in a couple of days because Sam's going through some shit. Like, I wish I could tell you guys that text message he sent me. It's not just one thing bothering him. It's like 4 things, and they're like big things. But I haven't checked Sam's live stream in a while. His Egotistical Commando live. I don't know if he's done a live stream in a while, but I'll let him tell you what's been going on because, man, he's going through some shit right now. So I left him a voicemail and a text message and said, hey, Sam, like, if you want to hang out this week, like, or if you want to talk, let me know. I said, like, I know it's your turn to buy food for our hangout, buddy, but I'm like, don't worry about it. I'm like, I'll buy you food. So hopefully me and Sam can hang out and I can find out what else is going on because I got the 10-second version, you know, in the text, so I kind of know what's going on. But I was like, hey, man, I'm like, sometimes it's good to talk about this shit. So I'm like, if you feel like talking about it, like, let me know. So I haven't heard from him in a couple of days, so I'm kind of giving him his space. He did tell me it's nothing He goes, I'm not mad at you, Fears, because it's not anything you did. He goes, it's like 4 crazy things that happened to me in my life. And I was like, oh, okay. I'm like, well, that's good. And he goes, we're still buddies, we're still friends. He goes, but man, he goes, I'm really bummed at all this shit happening to me. And I was like, listen, I'm like, I get it, buddy. I understand. I'm like, I understand. And I'm like, no worries. Just, whenever you want to hang out, you let me know. And I said, hopefully things get better. So I definitely been praying for Sam at church. I really have. So hopefully things get better for him and me. So yeah. Anyway, guys, I think I'm going to tune off. But hey, thanks a lot for hanging out with Fears. It's almost 1 o'clock in the morning, and we're still going strong. Now I know you guys. You see, that's what I love about the loyal fans. They will sit with Fears all fucking night. If I went all night, if I went to 5 in the morning, you guys would still be here. And I appreciate that. I really do. Plus, Visions was telling me he loves these long streams, and I've been enjoying these long streams too. So, anyway. But I'm getting tired. And we all know how Fears is. If I don't get my coffee in me, and if I don't get enough sleep, it's like Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I will go from happy, lucky John Fears to Dr. Hyde. You motherfuckers! Actually, I wouldn't be like that. I would just be a little grumpy. I'll give you an example, right? At church camp, when I was a counselor, I was like, oh man, the worst thing is that you have to get up at like 7 or 8. And I was like, it's for the kids, it's for the kids, it's for the kids, Fears. I'm like, and it's for God. I'm like, put a good attitude on. But one time I snapped at one of the counselors. I forgot to tell you guys about this. It was during rest period. I'm sleeping. He's like, hey, come on, Fears. He's like, we got to take the kids to the pool. And I was like, oh man, come on. I'm like, dude, it's rest period. I'm like, leave me alone. I'm trying to get some sleep. He's like, well, Fears, do you want to just stay here and get some sleep, and I'll take the kids to the, to the swimming pool? And I was like, yeah. I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow, buddy. I'm like, you take the kids to the swimming pool, because during rest period, you can either go for a swim, or you can rest. That's why there's always like 2 to 3 counselors in the same cabin. So the other 2 counselors were like, all right, that's cool, Fears. But I didn't really get mad. I was just like, oh, man, dude. I'm like, listen, I did it yesterday. Take the kids to the pool. I'm going to sleep. And he was like, all right, cool, Fears. He's like, you don't mind doing it tomorrow? I'm like, no, I don't mind doing it tomorrow. And he left, and I was like, all right, peace. And I went back to sleep. But that's a typical Fears response. I love me some sleep, especially when you get older. Larry, I'm not trying to single you out. You can attest to this. When you get older, you sleep more. So, yeah. Back in the day, I would hate sleeping all day. But now that I'm getting older, I'm like, I don't care. I'm like, I'm not going out. Fears is going to go take a nap. And I'll take like 3 or 4 naps a day, and it's fucking great. So there it is. But then other times I'm like, you know what? I need to get out and do some shit. That's when it's a middle. It's like sometimes I like it, other times I get pissed off. I'm like, no, Fears, you slept all day. Shame on you. You just wasted a fucking day. And then I'm like, yeah, but I had some good snooze. So it's like a middle ground. Sometimes I like it, sometimes I don't. So yeah. Anyway, I hope you guys have a good rest of your week. Tomorrow, well, technically it's Thursday, but tomorrow is Friday, the start of the weekend. What has Fears got planned? I'll be honest, I've got nothing really planned this weekend, except for church. Because I didn't go to church last weekend because I told Visions. Visions was like, hey, Fears, you going to church? And I was like, no. And he's like, well, why not? And we had some type of discussion like that. Remember Visions? And I was like, dude, I've got even worse than a headache. I got a massive fucking migraine. And it was pounding. I mean, it was so bad. I was like, holy shit. I'm like, will this fucking headache just go away? And it's like, no, Fears, I'm not going away. Dun, dun, dun. It was just fucking killing my temples, man. It was nuts. And I was like, all right, this fucking headache. And I tried everything. I tried, sometimes like if you have a headache, a hot shower will fix it. I tried a shower. That didn't work. I tried Tylenol. That didn't work. And I'm like, oh, man, it's going to be all day. And it was all day. I had to go to work. The headache was killing me at work. And then when I got off of work, I was like, I'm not going to church. I'm like, no way. I was like, no. So it sucked that I didn't go to church last week, but this weekend I am going. And I missed the fucking potluck dinner. Because last weekend they had soup, and they had my friend Matt from church said, oh, Fears, you missed a good dinner. I was like, oh, what'd they serve? He goes, oh, we had soup, we had pizza, someone made a salad, and then for dessert, someone brought like an apple pie, like a homemade. Because I said, Did they do it classic Fear style, go to Walmart and just buy an apple pie and then heat it up, in the church oven? He goes, oh no. He goes, some lady made a homemade. I was like, oh, damn it. I'm like, homemade apple pie is so good. I was like, damn it. And he goes, oh yeah, Fears, you missed a hell of a service and a hell of a lunch. And I was like, well, I'm like, there'll be other lunches and other service. He goes, yeah. He goes, are you coming this weekend? I was like, I said, I'm coming this weekend. So I'm looking forward to church this weekend. So like always, I'll let you guys know how it was. By the way, before I go, I've told you guys this before, but some people didn't see the stream and they want to know. The pancake breakfast that all of the high school kids and the middle school kids put on to raise money to go to church camp this year, they raised well over $1,000. I can't remember how much they made, but Matt was in charge of counting all their money. They had this big bucket full of money, and so everybody, I donated like $5 or $10, something like that, and all the middle school kids, all the grade school kids, and all the high school kids, they were the ones making the pancakes, making the sausage, with adult supervision, mind you. But for the most part, they made breakfast for the entire church. Not only was the pancakes fucking amazing, but they raised so much money. And I asked Matt, and I think Matt told me they raised around $2,000-$3,000, so everyone's going to be able to go to church camp. That's cool. Not only did they raise enough money for camp, but they even raised some money. One of the lights is out at our church, so I think they're going to use some of the money to fix that. So I was like, hey, that's awesome. Way to go, way to go, the little guys, I'm like, way to go, you guys. Way to take charge. And they did it differently, because whenever I was a kid, they didn't do a pancake breakfast. To raise money for me to go to church camp, I've told you guys this before, I went door to door and sold tons of candy. And I'm proud to say that out of all the kids that I grew up with, Fears sold the most candy bars, because you guys know I'm a good... If I didn't go into film and stuff, I probably would have been a good businessman, because I know how to talk to people, I know good business ethics, and I learned it from the two best guys ever, negotiation skills, Grandpa Fears and my dad. My Grandpa Fears, man, he got some great deals throughout his life. Oh yeah. So I learned from the best. So I think one year when I was a kid, I sold, like most kids, like only sold a couple of boxes, to raise enough money, and then they're like, all right, we're done. Fears did not stop. I remember one time, I think to go to church camp when I was a kid, I think you had to sell like 5 or 10 boxes, and then you got enough money to go to church camp. And now the people that had enough money would just not even sell candy. They would just pay the money. But sometimes, like when my mom and dad were like raising me and my brother, they'd be like, like money's kind of tight. I don't know if we've got an extra $500 to send you to church camp. Because sometimes church camp was a week long, depending on what camp you went to. Sometimes it was 2 weeks long, so I understood. And I went to a lot of camps growing up. Like when I was in Boy Scouts, I did Boy Scout camps. I did 2 church camps. Then when I was 15, I did the space camp. And I went to Gulf Shores, wait, was it not Gulf Shores, Alabama? Huntsville, Alabama, and went to space camp. That was one of the coolest camps. Besides church camp, that was one of the coolest camps that I went to. And I've always wanted to go back because they have visions. Check this out. How great of a vlog would this be? I never knew that they had... I knew they had like space camp for kids because I went when I was 15 years old. But I remember like when I turned 21, I remember I was just like floating on the internet one day. And I was thinking about like all the camps that I went to as a kid. And I was like, I wonder if they've got space camp for adults. And they do. I had no idea. I was like, oh shit, you can go as an adult. So one of these days, Fears would love to go back and do space camp as an adult. And I would be filming away. How great of a fucking vlog would that be? And they do it at the same place that I went to. And my shirt still fits me. I still have my original space camp shirt that I wore when I was 15. It's still in my closet. So would Fears bring that? Oh, hell yeah. I'd be like, hey, a blast from the past. Fears is back, baby. And I got my original shirt. Hell yeah. How great of a trip would that be, Larry? Oh, yeah. Fucking space camp, baby. Vision says, hey, Fears, the girlfriend is jealous that you got to go to space camp. Dude, it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. I don't know if your girlfriend has heard the story, Vision, so I'll tell it again. All right, so Fears was a geekazoid. I've always been a geek, always been a nerd growing up. But I did that thing where you try to fit in and try to be Mr. Cool to get all the babes and stuff in middle school and high school. Fears didn't get any babes in middle school or high school. I had one girlfriend growing up in high school, and it only lasted like a year or two because she was way immature. But to make some friends, I joined the science club like in 6th or 7th grade. And I don't even remember, I think maybe my science teacher told me about, they had a contest and they said, it's only for people in the science club. And they said, whoever writes the best essay wins a free trip to space camp. And so I was like, all right, I'm not the best writer in the world. So every single day, I was begging my teacher. I'm like, and she goes, John, are you working on your essay? I said, I've started it. And I said, please, I know there's a lot of people going this. And she goes, well, we're only picking 3 students, John, to go to space camp. I said, I promise. I said, I'll represent the school, the best I can. I said, I'm begging you, send me. So I think the reason why I got to go Visions, it was a little bit of begging. And then they also liked my essay. And basically the essay was, why do you deserve to go to space camp, and what have you contributed to the science club? So I said, all right, well, the best thing to do is the first half of the essay needs to be what I like about space, why I want to go to space camp. And ever since I was a little kid, I've always thought, man, how cool would it be to be an astronaut and go in space? Like, what the fuck is out there? Because we don't really know. Like, we know what's in our galaxy, but what is the fucking universe made of? Is it just universe after universe after universe? Who made the fucking universe? How did the fucking universe form? What's past our universe? Is another fucking universe? These are all questions that Fears, as an adult, still, like, all the questions that I asked when I was a kid, Fears still asks them as an adult. So it's like, we're this little in a massive fucking universe, and astronauts, we've only went to a couple of places. We've been in space, we've landed on the moon. Some people even think we didn't even land on the moon. I know for a fact we landed on the moon. We've sent robots to Mars, but humans have never went to Mars. But we went to we've sent satellites. We sent those fucking rovers that drive around on Mars's atmosphere, took pictures, and then it's relayed it back to our satellites, and we've seen pictures of Mars. But eventually, I've looked online. They're gonna try and send people to Mars one day, Visions, which would be fucking cool. I mean, how fucking cool is that? Because that's an actual planet. A moon, a moon is a moon, but humans on actual fucking another planet, not Earth. That's like Star Trek shit. So, like, how my dad said this before he died. He said, hey, John, you know how cool it was, like, when I was young and I watched the moon landing? He goes, well, your moon landing will be eventually somebody landing on Mars. And I was like, that's true, Dad. And I've seen all the old footage of, like, Neil Armstrong saying the quote, like, that's one small step for man, one giant leap for mankind, and him planting his foot on the fucking surface of the moon. I've seen all the old footage. But how cool was it when my dad was young? He goes, well, John, you watched it on a laptop. And I said, yeah. He goes, me and my mom and Grandpa Fear sat in front of the TV and actually watched it live. And I was like, oh, that must have been so fucking cool. And I remember my dad saying something like, I don't remember exactly what he said, but he went, oh, it was. Because a few weeks or months after the moon landing, that's when they created Star Trek. And I was like, oh, that's fucking sweet. So anyway, to make a long story short, Vision's girlfriend, this is how Fears won. I just wrote anything and everything about why I loved space, why I wanted to go to space camp. And then the other half of the paragraph was, you know what? I've contributed a lot to the science club. I'll just write every single thing that I can remember what I've done. So I said, I've never missed a meeting at the science club. I've went on every single field trip. I planted trees in the back of our school as part of a science club project. I mean, I just wrote everything. And I remember they said, there was an announcement that came over the PA, and I'm sitting at my desk like I was, 15, and I'm doing my essay like an English class or some shit. And the principal came over and said, we're going to be announcing the winners of Space Camp, from the members of the science club this Friday. So I had to wait for a week. And I'm like, God damn it. Like, why can't they do it the middle of the week? I'm like, Fears is excited. So it was the last day. We're in the last class, about to get off. And the PA comes on, and they're like, well, now we're going to be announcing the winners of the Science Club prize to go to space camp. And everyone turned around. They said, hey, Fears, this is it. And I had my fingers crossed, and I was like, come on, say it. Say John Fears. You know you want it. You know, come on, just do it. And the first one, they said, like, some girl, her name was Kimberly. So I was like, all right, so I had 2 more chances. This is how funny it was. The second person that got picked, his name was John. So at first I was like, oh, you know, like they're going to say John Fears. And then they said John, and I don't remember John's last name, but they said another John. And I was like, damn it. So then by the third one, I was like, they're not going to say my name. So they waited until I was the last one picked. So I'm just sitting there at my desk, and I'm just so bummed. And my friend was sitting next to me and went, well, Fears, you know, you've got one chance. I'm like, they're not going to say my name, man. I'm like, and then I looked at my friend and said, it was close. They said John, but they said it's that other guy. And he goes, do you know that other guy, John? And I said, yeah. I said, I know him. I said, he's in some of my classes. I said, he's a good guy. I said, he deserves to go to space camp. And then my friend was like, Fears, you know, you win some, you lose some. I was like, yeah. I'm like, it's cool. I'm like, and so they said, and the very last person to go to space camp, and I was like, yeah, go ahead and say somebody else's name. I was so bummed. And they said John, my name. But then I thought, oh, it's going to be another John. And I didn't hear them say Fears right away. So they went, and the last one to go to space camp is John Fears. And then I was just sitting there, and my friend like kind of tapped me on the shoulder, like, John. And I was like, yeah, whatever. And they're like, they said your name. I said, what? And it's because I didn't hear them, because I thought they were going to say another John, you know, because I heard John, but I didn't hear them say Fears. Because I thought, oh, whatever, they're going to say another John, just like the second guy. It's John somebody else. All of a sudden, everyone turns around, and they're like, hey, John, you won. Everyone starts, you know, jumping up, applauding. That's when it hit me. I was like, oh, shit, I won. And then I stood up, and I was like, this is friggin' awesome. And then, you know, then I remember I said, can I go? And she goes, well, John, she goes, you can't. Because I wanted to go. I wanted to leave and, like, go to the bus, you know, stop early and, like, get fucking home so I could tell my mom and my dad. She goes, well, no, John, we've got another 10 minutes left of class. I'm like, can I just go now? And they're like, no, you got to stay. And I was like, God damn. I was like, all right, fine. So I remember the last 10 minutes, the whole class was going nuts. And the teacher's like, well, since John is in our class and since John won, she goes, I'm sure you want to talk to him, so I'm gonna end the lesson kind of early. So because nobody could focus on the teacher after they said my name. So I remember I had to go to the principal's office, and the last 2 minutes of class, they sent all the winners to the principal's office, and they kind of did like an interview on each student that won. And they went, when they got to me, I remember they heard my name over the PA. And so my principal was like, John, how do you feel? I said, oh, I feel epic, man. This is going to be amazing. I said, I've always wanted to go to space camp ever since I was 5 years old. And then he goes, how do you feel? And I just screamed into the fucking mic, this is friggin' awesome. And like, I said it so loud that people like, when they heard it, they said it like hurt their ears or some shit. I screamed into the fucking mic. So yeah, I was pretty excited. And then I remember the bus ride home, I was like, God, this is taking forever to get home. And then I finally got home. I raced in the kitchen, threw my backpack down, and said, Mom, Dad, guess what happened? And I said, you know that little fucking essay that I had to write and shit? My mom's like, yeah. And at first my mom was like, oh, did you not get it? I said, no, I said I got it. I showed them the paper that said, hey, your son has won this award. And I showed them the tickets. And they paid for everything. My school paid for everything. They paid for the... that was the first time I flown on a plane by myself. Because anytime I went on a plane, like to Florida or to England, I was always with like a grandparent or my mom, my dad. That was the first plane ride that I ever flew by myself, and I was 15 years old. So my mom's like, you think you'll be all right, like flying on a plane? And I said, yeah. I said, I'll be fine by myself. I said, I've flown half a dozen times, you know, with you guys. So I said, I'm cool. I remember when I got off the plane at the airport, there was a person in a full space camp like blue flight suit with a billboard that they hung up and said, space camp members this way, and then on the billboard had all of our names, and it was people from different cities and states too. So they said all the people that were chosen, because this was a contest across the United States. It wasn't just for my school. They said each school in the Midwest, I think it was just the Midwest. Each state in the Midwest gets to pick 3 students to go to church camp, and it said St. Louis, Missouri, and had me and the other 2 people's names. So I went over to that lady and said, "I'm John Fears. I'm reporting in." And then she goes, "Yep." She goes, "This is the place." And then we went to church. We went to space camp. So it was definitely a good time. But I guess Vision's girlfriend, whenever she was a kid, I guess she wanted to go to space camp. But ha ha ha! I got to go to space camp and you didn't. Woo! No, I'm just joking. I'm just playing around. I'm just joking. See, now Vision's girlfriend's probably pissed off at me. What? John, you son of a bitch! I can't believe you said that! Now she's probably, in the corner crying. I'm sorry. Listen, Mrs. Visions, I love you. You're great. I'm just joking. I was just playing around. I'm sorry that you didn't get to go to church camp. I'm really sorry. But I gotta say, it was a hell of a time when I went. It was amazing. If you ever get a chance, Mrs. Visions, there's still time. You can go to space camp as an adult. So drag Visions with you. Drag his ass out of the fucking layer of goth. www.exhumvisions.com, and you guys take a trip to fucking space camp in Huntsville, Alabama. That's right, Visions. Because if she wants to go, she's gonna drag your ass with him. With her. So Visions, get your head out of your ass and take your girlfriend to space camp. Do it. Do it now. Because we're buddies. And I love you like a brother, man. You got to take her. Take her to space camp. It's that old saying, happy wife, happy life, happy girlfriend, happy life, I can just picture Visions zipping up the flight suit and then but then Visions, you're a goth, so you got to do it differently. So, everyone's in their blue flight suits, and then Vision's like, hang on a minute, this isn't fucking goth. He takes the blue fucking space suit, goes into a closet, grabs a black can of spray paint, spray paints the fuck out of that fucking flight suit, and then he puts Visions right here in white words, you know what I'm saying, Vision? And he comes back and goes, yeah, now I'm ready. My spacesuit's fucking black, it's goth, I'm ready to fucking rock and roll, bitches. That's right. Visions, you do it. Don't tell me you wouldn't, you. Because it's gotta be goth, man. You be gothing it up. Right? I'm telling you, you guys should both go. They have adult space camp, so you should totally do it. Like I said, Fears wants to do it at some point. I want to go back and do it again. It was so much fun whenever I went, so. But Mrs. Visions, I was just joking around. I'm sorry you didn't get to go as a kid, but yeah. Let's see. Vision says, oh, I think I've been through Huntsville before, or at least I've drove past it going to, yeah. So the main complex is in Huntsville, Alabama. And that was the first time I stayed in Alabama. I remember me and my family drove through Alabama because from Missouri to Florida, I think you have to drive through Alabama to get to Florida, if you drive. So I remember we had driven through it, but this was the first time I was like, oh man, I've never stayed in Alabama. So I'm like, all right, this will be cool. This will be fun. So yeah. But yeah, you should totally take her, Visions. Take her. But Visions, I just picture that. As soon as you said your girlfriend's jealous that you got to go, I was like, I just pictured that scene. I'm like, oh, if Visions was there, he'd take that blue flight suit and be like, no, fuck this blue flight suit shit. And he just goes into a back room, like a janitor's room, and goes, look, hey motherfucker, give me some black spray paint. Spray paints that bitch black. Then he comes out and he zips up and he's like, all right, I'm fully gothed up. I'm ready to rock and roll. Let's do this shit. And then he's like, now I'm ready to rock and roll. That would be hilarious if you did that, Visions. He's like, no, this flight suit isn't good enough. No, I need to fucking amp it up. And then you just fucking spray paint the hell out of it. Is it drove past or drove past? I don't know. I'm too tired. I guess one of those would work. One of those would work, buddy. All right, man. I love you guys. I'm taking off. But, man, it's been a hell of a show. And shout out to Mrs. Visions, Lord Visions, all the Visions. Shout out to Larry. Shout out to Pixel, Pretend Stories, Joy Boy. Who else is in here? Richie was here for a little while. Visions was here for a little while. I don't know if Visions is still... Pixel is still here. Richie was here. Shout out to everybody in the chat. I appreciate you guys. You guys are good, loyal, loving fans and friends of mine. You guys are awesome. You guys are awesome, 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 awesome. Me, bad English. Yeah, well, you know what? Sometimes I've got bad English too, so no worries, buddy. No worries. No worries. And really, it doesn't matter. Drove past. who cares, you know? It's probably P-A-S-S-E-D, because past, P-A-S-T, that's like I time traveled back to the past. It's past with a D, you know what I'm saying? So yeah. But yeah, man, you guys should totally take her. And you know what's also cool when you go to Space Camp in Huntsville, Alabama? One side of the building is for Space Camp, and the other side they have Air Force training, like Air Force training camp. And anyone that wants to go into the Air Force, they had kids there around my age, 15, 16 years old, and they had green Air Force military flight suits that you can be in, and when you go to Air Force camp, they have you in all the flight simulators. So I wasn't supposed to, but one day at lunch visions, I got done eating and I snuck away to the Air Force side of Space Camp, and I begged the instructor. I said, "Hey," I said, "I know I'm not really supposed to be on this side," and he's like, "Yeah." He goes, "What camp are you at?" I said, Space Camp. I said, "But I said, me and my dad watched this old 80s movie called Iron Eagle. Have you ever seen that movie, Vision? It's so good, Iron Eagle." And I said, in the movie, the guy that's like 18 goes into this flight simulator. And I remember the guy said something like, "You want to try it, right?" I said, "Yeah." I said, "Can I please just try it once?" And he's like, "Hurry up and get in there." So he was so cool. Me at 15, I was like, "Oh man," I'm like, I've always wanted to try this flight simulator, you know, from the fucking movie Iron Eagle. So it was almost the exact same one from the fucking movie. So I got in the flight simulator and I got to try it once. And he goes, "Do not tell anyone, you know, from the camp," because I'm telling you guys now, but it doesn't matter because now it's age, you know, it's been years and years and years. But he goes, "Do not tell," he goes, "I'll lose my job." He goes, "Do not tell anyone at the camp that I let you do this." And I said, "Oh," I said, "I won't. My lips are sealed." So this is the first time I've told anyone. But I didn't tell anyone. So I remember I snuck over there, did the fucking thing, came back, and I came back 3 or 4 minutes before lunch was done. And then the instructor, my Space Camp instructor, was like, "John, where were you?" And so I just lied and said, "Oh, yeah, I was just in the bathroom." She goes, "Oh, okay." She goes, "I was wondering where you went." I said, "Yeah." I said, "I finished, you know, lunch kind of early." And I said, "I had to use the restroom." But she goes, "Well, I'm glad that you're back because now we have to get on to the next activity." I was like, "Yeah, that's cool. Let's go. Right on." So, yeah. It was pretty awesome. Pretty awesome. All right, I'm getting tired. So I'm going to take off, guys. But hey, thanks a lot for a good show. You guys are awesome. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe too. As always, FearsMan26 on YouTube and Fears Vlogs. I'm sorry that I've been kind of depressed in the lack of content, but I'll try to get a mosey in and get some more content up just as soon as possible. I've been trying to get out of this funk that I've been in, this funkity funk. So yeah. But subscribe to Visions. Lord Visions, www.exhumvisions.com. Hey, look at my eyes. Buy some cool merch from my buddy's website. Because Visions is a cool fucking dude. Buy some merch, motherfuckers. Check out Pixel, Lord of the Pylons, at Pixel Protocol on YouTube. Check out my buddy Randall's channel, Cameo Man 2021. And his second channel, Part Deuce, the Mayor of Magic. Check him out. Anyway, thanks for a cool stream. You guys are awesome. And this is Fears, and I'm tuning out. And I will see you later, alligator. All right, bye. Shunk.